Hey, good evening. It's Monday again. I'm Rusty, and we're Stunthangar. This is where we hang out to talk about aero modeling. And so, if you find us on YouTube, the link is there in the chat box next to the video. You can click that if you want to come live. And also, the link is in the At the Bench thread under the live streaming forum on stunthangar.com. So come on in and welcome. I see we got 2 viewers already. And if anybody wants to join me live, I welcome that too. So anyway, last time we were here, we were talking about maybe doing a winter build-off between our regulars that come on. And by regulars, I mean both of you on YouTube who come and just post in the chat box, and we try to consider your posts and you know, talk back and forth with you, trading advice, that sort of thing. And both in the live visitors too, I've been trying to figure out how to get set up in my workshop so that I can be working on my Cardinal. That's my plan for winter build, so I can be working on my Cardinal while we're talking. And I've got a new tablet and a new phone. It's a LG tablet. No, excuse me, it's an Asus tablet. I got it as a special deal with my LG phone. Hey, Frank and Dayton, how you doing today? Anyway, that's one of our YouTube viewers, our regulars dropping in. But so we're going to try to get in our shops and build. But I hadn't been able to figure out how to get my tablet to broadcast through this video Hangout. So I just started working on that a couple of days ago, and I've looked at YouTube videos, and it's all a bunch of children with their brothers and sisters and friends screaming in the background while they're telling us how to hook up to a video. And it appears that I need to download an application, or an app as we call them these days. I'm not downloading any apps. I can't believe, not yet. I can't believe YouTube doesn't supply a way for mobile customers to be able to use the live chat feature, the Hangouts feature. So we'll keep working at it, hopefully before our models get started. Okay, Frank says he's doing good, won't be able to be live tonight, but watch for a while. That's good. Well, I'm glad to know somebody's watching me anyway. I appear to have 1 viewer according to my monitor here, but many people usually slowly drop in and take the pressure off of me to be entertaining. So I'll sit here and talk until they do. And now we got 2 viewers. All right, but anyway, I haven't formally announced this winter build in Stunthangar. I did PM Sparky about it, and he is down for it. Sounds like he thought it was a good idea. And I told him that we'd be sharing ideas. We'd pick a part of what we're building and ask everybody else how they would do it, and then see what kind of opinions we can get and learn different ways to build things, because there's so many different, you know, opinions and ways to do any given thing on a model to make it fly right, that you know, any one of us can pick up some new stuff we'd never heard before. Just got to cherry pick so that you can be consistent, you know, with the similarity of methods. It's just like you ask 10 people, you get 10 different ideas, but you can't use all. You know, you gotta pick the methods that fit the ones that you were already doing. And so if we run into a stump and have a question that Master Sparky would be best to explain, we'll let him know, and he'll come on with us and show us from his shop how he would do what it is that we are curious or have gotten stumped on. So it sounds like it's going to be fun. I just got to get this stupid tablet set up. So maybe somebody will come on tonight and tell me how to do that. If you would do that, I would appreciate it. Usually I'm kind of the guy uh, of the gray-haired variety anyway, that answers computer questions on Stunthangar. But I'm at a loss on this one. I was watching one kid's video today, and I guess speak of the devil. Hey, Sparky.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, not much. I'm just jabbering while we wait for some of our crowd to join in.
Yeah, I did a couple videos today. Stayed on about 45 minutes. Nobody joined me, so I shut it down.
As I was hooking up here, I saw something about a garage collapse. What was that about?
The wall in my garage collapsed while I was gone. That was a project for today I had to do.
Well,
so I haven't been model airplaning today. I've been garage building.
Well, had rain and water come in, or is it okay that way?
The whole wall came out of it. The whole wall and the roof came off the extension. It's my fault. About 5 years ago, 4 years ago, we had a big wind come through and it ripped the roof off. You know, the sheeting, the 90-pound felt or whatever you have, whatever you call it, off the roof. And I saw it. I said, "Oh, we'll get it next week. We'll get it next week. We'll get it next week."
And then you forget about it. Out of sight, out of mind, as they say. So.
Yeah, well, the whole wall collapsed out into the neighbor's yard, and the roof came down.
Oh boy! So you had to clean up the neighbor's yard before you could even start working on the damn thing, didn't you?
I'm still not done cleaning up the neighbor's yard.
Ken Colbert just joined us. Hey, bud, how you doing? I can see you waving. Looks like your microphone's on. Can you make any noise for us? Nah, I guess when Ken figures out his mic, we can join the conversation. And I need to open my control panel. I have to stand guard around here lately.
Oh, I want to tell you, I just found this out today, and it's the greatest thing. You know how you want to be able to see the chat, right?
Yeah.
Okay, go to the chat or to the YouTube side, and you see the little 3 dots on the right hand side where it says live chat. Top, it says live chat.
Yes, I do.
Click on that. And
okay.
then the third one down, it says pop out chat.
Yep.
Click on that.
Okay.
And
I see it popped out, and that's yeah, let me see. I lost it behind my window here. Okay. Yeah, it's popped out now. It's got Frank on there.
Now you can move it in front of the Hangout.
Yeah. Okay, that's better than having to switch between 2 different windows. And now, yeah.
I don't know how big your screen is, but what I do is I take the the screen inside it, so I got the chat on the right,
yeah,
and the video on the left.
Okay, that's handy. Yeah, that's about equivalent to what I was doing, but makes it a little less complicated now. Okay, and I'll move it right there. And okay, now I got 2 of them side by side, so that works. And the other night I found a way to type between us viewers inside of our video window, but
right. How you do that is you go to the top, you move your arrow to the top. There's a blue screen up there. It says chat. You click on that, and that'll open up another box.
Yeah, but I had it to where it was actually texting inside of the video, like it was embedded into the video.
Like this. Now, hang on. Did it come in the video?
No.
Huh. Let's see here. Chat. I don't know. Showcase.
Let's out to the side of the video. So, yeah, we could talk to each other via that. But it was a way for the YouTubers to see. Well, I don't know. When this gets recorded, we can look back and see if this got to be part of the video, but I don't believe it does.
Ken Colbert just typed in the chat that my mic is messed up, but I wanted to be seen.
Okay, Frank, that's fine. Well,
oh, that's Ken.
Let's see if I can do anything on this end. I could have it turned off on my control
Ken
panel.
has his mic muted. Ken, now listen carefully. Take the arrow, go up to the top. Hey, Gerald Warmer sent a $5 super chat.
Oh, nice. Gerald must be one of our tube watchers. Thank you, Gerald. That's extremely considerate of you. I just turned Ken's mic on from this end.
Say something, Ken.
Nah, still silent.
Okay, take the arrow, go up to settings. Take it and put it to the top of the window. The arrow, there's a gear, a drop-down box. It'll say your camera that you're using and the microphone that you want to select. If the microphone's not on there, turn it off, select something else, then turn it back on. Are you standing beside yourself now? Can you hear it? Can you talk? We won't know till your lips start moving. Make your lips move.
He's got that beard problem like you, Sparky. We can't tell. His lips are in a shadow.
Well, I'm going to be cutting my beard off this week.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
We'll have to get used to that. Well, have you noticed YouTube's been making a lot of modifications to its interface a little bit? I mean, there's just things are starting to look different every time I go to YouTube, and just little things, but they keep rearranging this and that, and where you click says, "Hey, Rusty, I posted to you on your Facebook page." Now, he just posted right in the middle of the video.
I didn't get to see it, but whatever.
I didn't know I had this connected to Facebook, but I'll look at Facebook about once a month, so I better get on there and see what I've been missing.
You ain't missing nothing except the CIA.
Well, I don't miss the CIA, but I do miss a lot of aero modelers. I guess okay. So he's Ken's talking to us via video. Are you seeing his pop-ups in the video, Sparky?
No, I have the chat box open as well.
Yeah, but his it's coming up in like a cartoon bubble with an arrow pointed at his head when he types his message to us. So we're going to talk, and he's going to type, and we'll communicate that way. Interesting. But I've been keeping my control panel on with everybody that's in the video listed, so I can eject anybody that comes in that's way too far off topic for
Gerald Wimmer says, "Hello, Rusty and Sparky. Hope to join you in the chat later when I have my jobs done."
Okay, Gerald, we'll be here for 2 or 3 hours, so we'll look out for you.
Rusty will be here 2 or 3 hours. Sparky won't be.
Yeah. All right. Ken's going for a cup of coffee now. Yeah, I'm all fixed up tonight. I got a hot cup of Go Juice next to me with my fucking bunny cup. See, there you go. My favorite coffee cup.
You know that garage collapse video got demonetized just because it says collapse on it?
Why would that word be
I don't know.
something?
I'm getting pretty tired of the censorship.
I know one time I was making a video of gluing a wing, and I had just my Bluetooth speakers running in the background, and it picked a couple of songs out and censored me for that. Said,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
No music. Don't. If anybody has music running, mute them.
it'll pick it up in a heartbeat. I couldn't believe it, and it was a fairly obscure song by a fairly obscure band that they picked it for. I had Eric Clapton and other stuff going too, but I guess something has have different rights assigned.
Right.
But
YouTube,
anyway,
YouTube is changing their logarithms or whatever you call them all around. Now, whether I'm going to say it again, if you want to be notified of the chats, you have to subscribe. And when you subscribe, you have to click the box that says allow notifications and hit the bell and then hit save. Otherwise, you won't be notified. It's not, even if you were a past subscriber and you want to get notified, you have to go in, subscribe again, and then check the box for notifications and hit save.
well, Sparky, I need to ask you something because we're talking about all coming from our shops this winter while we build our individual projects, and I've got a new tablet, but on my phone or my tablet, I can't seem to even get into the video manager where the dashboard or the live streaming. None of that seems available. How do you get into that when you're on like you were on your phone at the Nats? How did you stream through your handheld device?
Okay. I don't believe you're going to be able to start the chat from any one of those devices.
Oh,
And you'll notice that when I was started a live stream, there was no chat back and forth. I could not we couldn't do a hangout, so to speak. So if you want to start a hangout, what I think is going to happen is I'll have to start it or whatever. Well, see, that won't work either. I'm not sure. I'll have to do some research. But how you do the streaming from your tablet is you need the app. You have the app on it?
I've got the YouTube app, yes.
Okay. On the top of the red bar at the top, let me see if I can get it up here.
I'm sure I've looked right at it and just overlooked it, but I've clicked on everything I can find.
Okay, apps, search, YouTube. Okay, I'll put this up here. I don't know. Oh, it's done now. Garage collapse. Okay. We'll see if you can see this up here.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's good.
On the top bar, the red, next to your icon, there's the magnifying glass. That's the search.
Yeah.
Then there's the camera. Click on that camera.
Okay.
That camera will hit the camera, then you'll start a stream. But I don't believe you're going to be able to do a hangout.
Yeah, probably not, because I gotta be able to go through all of that, the other steps.
You can do a video, but you're not going to be able to do a hangout. I don't believe.
Okay. So if I turn that camera on, I guess I just start streaming straight to YouTube rather than Google and any of that stuff.
Here I'm watching myself on the live show now. Uh-oh.
Apparently the YouTube app for handhelds, yeah, you are. Apparently the YouTube app for handhelds is just for watching YouTube videos and not managing your videos and any of that. But anyway, oh, I see Mr. Forbes is back with his coffee and his keyboard. let's see, we got 5 viewers right now, and Gerald and Frank are over there on the YouTube watching us. At least Frank probably is. I think Frank's a busy guy. Sometimes he can come in with us, and sometimes he hangs out over on YouTube. That's fine. We get a lot of good stuff going back and forth between you guys that watch over on YouTube too. I mean, we got a whole bunch of folks, Minnesota Mike, and a lot of people with different things come in and help us out, throw in their ideas. So you don't have to be on the video. We can hold up to 10 people at one time on the video, and I assume that includes me.
Yes.
Yeah, Terry says he's learned a lot here.
Who says that?
Terry Forbes. I got your name right, don't I? It's not listed on your little avatar down there at the bottom. No, Kenneth. Excuse me, Kenneth, not Terry. Yeah. Sorry. There's so many. I'm sorry. I mix y'all up sometimes. Kenneth Colbert. Yeah, I got it. I was saying Terry Forbes.
I don't see that anywhere. I don't know where you see it. But
when he types it, it comes up for just a couple of seconds with a little cartoon bubble pointing at him, and then it goes away again. Type something again, Terry, and see if it pops up.
That's Kenneth.
Say hi. I mean, Kenneth. I'm Terry Ken.
Hey, you.
You with the beard. Frank Washburn's still there.
Here. He's visiting his dad in Ohio.
There he goes. LOL Rusty. That's what.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he said. And Frank says, yeah, he's visiting his parents in Ohio. So, oh, Dad's not doing well. Sorry about that, Frank. We're all at the age where our parents are getting there. Hell, I'm getting there.
Well, here's one for you. It was out there in the heat in the garage today, and we were working our ass off. I called my club brother up. I said, hey, man, come on over here and help me. I'll give you $100. And so we're out there working. He said, well, you know, I'm getting heat stroke. I got to take a break. I said, hey, you know, I'm not feeling real good either. Let's sit in the sun for a while. He says, us old guys aren't able to do it like we used to. Said,
yeah, you know, I've talked about working out in the heat before on here, and when we're out flying in the summer and start feeling a little, you know, water washed out, we usually carry a bottle of that green spearmint alcohol, drugstore rubbing alcohol, and pour some of that in some cooler ice water, just a few glugs in there, and soak a rag with it. Wring that over the back of your neck and see if it'll make you scream out loud, but it'll drop your core temperature in a heartbeat, and you will feel 10 times better and rejuvenated, and it'll ward off heat stroke. Just wring that thing out over your head and the back of your neck with that alcohol, that mint smelling alcohol mixed in the water, and it works wonders for warding off heat stroke.
I bought one of those fancy towels that you snap.
Yeah.
That's in Dayton, so I don't have it here.
Yeah, you must have been working hard lately, because I know you hadn't been on nearly as much. I'm guessing you drop on Stunthangar just long enough to police it, and then get back out of there. I figure that's what's going on.
You start so late. Like right now, I'd be going to sleep.
Yeah.
And I'm going to probably go to sleep here in about 15, 20 minutes anyway, because I don't want to get out of my rhythm, because I got to go back.
Yeah.
But the fix is going to be, I think, when you start doing your live streams, your build off or whatever you guys are going to do, you guys need to send me, you know, what you want me to talk about or whatever, and I'll probably come on before you do, and then sign off, and you can take over, you know, and talk about what I put up or whatever.
Sounds good.
If you had OSB, let me see, see if that's right. Yeah. I hope to be able to join the build up. Well, I hope you can too.
Yeah, you can. We'll all
OBS.
That.
OBS Studio. I think what'll happen is that I'll probably end up taking your snippets. Matter of fact, I'll just do it myself because I do have internet now in Dayton. I'll just take snippets myself and put together a video, every week of what you're doing.
Yeah, okay.
Your questions and my answers, but we'll work it out somehow where I can come on live a little bit. As long as if you start at 8:30 Eastern, I can come on and stay till 9 o'clock. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, I start at 9:30 Eastern. That's our time. Is 9:30 Eastern is our start time.
Well, you're pretty early tonight then.
No, it's 10 after 10 right now.
Oh, that's right. I'm back in Missouri. I'm back in Missouri. It's 9 o'clock.
Oh yeah. So. Okay, so Dayton's an hour later than it is in Missouri.
Dayton is on your time. Now you start at what time?
I start at 9:30 Eastern, which is 8:30 Central.
Yeah, I don't think I can make that. I don't know. I'll try to do what I can. Just send me the questions that you want to talk about, and we'll see if we can get in somehow. I
will. Main thing is just we'll all be building and comparing how we do certain things. When it gets to the bell crank assembly, we'll see how everybody does that, just for sharing ideas. And Charles Carter just jumped in.
He's got his girlfriend with him too.
Hey, what's up, you guys?
Oh, not much. We're just sitting around jabbering like we always do. What you doing? Hey,
just came back from McDonald's.
Who's your girlfriend?
That's a sweetheart.
My daughter, Tatiana.
Hi, Tatiana.
Yeah, prettiest girl on Stunthangar Hangouts.
Thank you. Yeah, she actually wants to get on the call all the time with me. So most of the time I'd say no. So I told her she can at least come in for a little bit.
Yeah, we don't act too crude, and if we have younger visitors, we don't have to be crude at all.
Yeah,
hopefully nobody will come in uninvited and be crude, but we deal with that the best we can.
Right.
Where the hell they come from?
Tell her that I'm your brother from another mother.
Yeah, that's my brother from a different mother. Sparky in the red. That's my brother from a different mother. We met at Brodax. Oh, she doesn't get it.
Well, it's an expression I guess she hadn't picked up yet, but we're all brothers in the aero modeling field.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I'd like to meet you sometime, Rusty. I definitely enjoyed the time I had with Sparky. That was a pleasant surprise.
I love meeting people from the forums, because you always in the back of your mind, who am I really talking to? And it's cool that we've got a forum that everybody knows their real names too. That's the best. That is one of the best things about Stunthangar is the anonymity is eliminated as much as possible. Anybody can be a pretender, but when you meet in person at a contest or some event, you can only pretend so far, and you got to be who you are, or you can't hang with this crowd for long. It just won't work.
So who's this other gentleman I see here? Kenneth. Hey, Kenneth, how are you?
Colbert.
His mic doesn't work. You have to watch for the chat bubbles above his head.
Oh, okay. Well, hi, Kenneth.
He's about to type something to you, I think, Charles.
Yes.
Yeah. A little pop-up comes up when he types us a message. He's look like he's typing now. He's like me. He has to look at the keyboard to type.
Frank Washburn on the YouTube side says, hi, Charles.
Hey, hi, Frank.
Oh, thanks, Sparky. I'm forgetting to look over at the YouTubers.
He says, too bad about Nobler.
Yeah, it's it's this. The unfortunate thing is, I mean, I'd rather have flown the plane and made a mental error and crash it, but for some mechanical thing, take my plane away. That's very frustrating.
So what does that teach you?
Well, it teaches me to make sure that the stooge lines are underneath my flying lines every single time. You know, Sparky, I probably have had at least 1,000 successful launches off that stooge. I mean, that Nobler had at least 218 flights on it. That was its 219th. I know my top flight score must have had at least another 200 and change, and my Strega has at least 170. And I've had like 3 Noblers. I've had so I know I have had at least 1,000 flights off that stooge. That was the first and last time I'll ever let that happen.
The only stooge incident I've had is tying my ankles together.
I've had that too, but it didn't result in me losing the plane.
It did make for a good video, though. It was when I was learning the beginner pattern, and I had to stop and fly figure 8. Somebody's YouTube making noise in the background. But anyway, yeah, and I added the hokey pokey and the wheelberry twist to it. And I got a censorship warning from YouTube, but they finally let it go. So
oh, that's funny.
Finally, they unlocked it and people could watch it.
Oh, very good.
It's funny, people, they'll lock people out who are on cell phones and in other countries, and then they'll let some other people watch it when you put a song that doesn't meet their censorship requirements.
Yeah, that's right.
YouTube is a disaster. You don't, I mean, if you want to make a video and use music, you only use music from the creator studio. Now I'm going to tell you a story what happened to me with Bob Hunt. Bob Hunt has a account with I think it's called Music Soup or something along that line. And it's, if you watch a Bob Hunt video, you get a nice melody in the background. He purchased the rights to buy all that stuff. And we, Hunt and I did a video together, and I put it on YouTube, and they flagged me. And immediately I got back at him. I said, this is my video. The music is purchased by the gentleman in the background. You know, this is 100% ours. Well, they unflagged it. But anything that's not out of the creator studio, you're going to get flagged. Anything.
How long did it take them to unflag it?
With as pissed as I was, about 40 minutes.
Okay.
Wow.
Good.
I
Wow.
told him I'd fly out to wherever I was. I can't remember where I was talking to. I'll fly out there and we'll talk about it in person. How about that?
That's right. I got a plane right here in my garage. I can roll it out and be there in 30 minutes.
I'm just so tired of the whammy-pammy political correctness, and you know, everything's got to be this way. And what I really am tired of, this has nothing to do with politics. It has nothing to do with music. What I'm really tired of is security. For your security, we want you to call this number or whatever on your credit cards. I've even told PayPal, hey, quit being so secure. I'm secure. My password's secure. Don't worry about it. Oh, God, it just drives me nuts.
I probably don't worry about personal security as much as I should, but I do use extremely strong passwords. And guess I won't say anything more about that in public. That's probably not a very secure thing to talk about either.
Well, 128-bit encryption. You could type in a five zeros and as your password, and it would be 128 characters of XZB, FY, whatever. There is no way that they're going to crack it.
Nah, I'm pretty sure. You know, I mix it up pretty good.
So I watched.
This is a quiet night tonight. Just three or four of us on here, but we got 7 viewers on YouTube, so we thank y'all
Very good
for watching out there. And it usually picks up though. So it takes this show a little while to get rolling, but usually we pick up about 7 or 8 folks all going at the same time.
Yeah, it gets pretty good.
Well,
Hey,
I haven't figured out quite how much I'm going to give you at Huntersville, Rusty, but I'll pay you whatever. I mean, because it takes a month for the AdSense to come in. So, like this Gerald Wormer donated the 550 New Zealand. I don't know. I don't know what that's going to work out to. Probably $4 or whatever. Then YouTube takes their cut, and then they send it to me. So what? I mean, I'll be fair with you.
Oh, I don't doubt that. Anything's fine. As long as I'm having fun doing this, you know, that's fine. I'll keep doing it. That's not the first time Gerald's donated to us either, so we appreciate that. I think he's hit us up a couple of times, and others too. Some of our regulars have clicked on the button, so we appreciate it. A little walking around change is always useful, and helps keep up the equipment too, and the server charges, whatever all it takes to do this.
Buy a gallon of fuel.
Yeah. I need a gallon of fuel too. I don't know if I got enough to get me to Huntersville.
Hang on 1 second, guys. I'm right back.
Okay, we'll see in a few. But yeah, if I have to, I'll buy some SIG Champion 1020 and use that. That's usually pretty seamless between PowerMaster 1022 and SIG 1020. I don't even usually have to adjust the needle valve if I go straight from one to the other, and the run times seem equivalent too. So I can do that if I have to.
Kenneth Colbert says to Charles, "Oh, he's not here, so I'll wait for him to come back."
But anyway, yeah, we got a few weeks to Huntersville, and I've got one plane that runs out of gas too soon, and I found out it was leaking somewhere in the Venturi area yesterday. My Twister's the one I want to fly probably, and it's been running out of gas sooner and sooner, even with a good engine run. And so I set it leaner yesterday, and it ran out even sooner. And then
Frank Washburn wants to know what button. Where's the button at? What button are you talking about, Frank? The donate button?
Oh, at the chat box that you're typing in, down at the bottom of it is a $sign and a smiley face. It's the one with the $sign. It's called the super chat, I believe.
Right.
If you're on a telephone, it's somewhere else different. Besides, or if you're on a telephone or probably a tablet, it's different from what I see on my PC, my desktop PC. I've been told that, but I don't know where to tell you to look. But it's just it's a gray square with a block $sign in it, a white block $sign in it. But anyway, so I'm going to look and see if I need a new gasket around the Venturi or something, because my pitman yesterday said he had cold fuel blowing on him while I was walking out to pick up the handle, and so it's sucking fuel out of somewhere in the Venturi area, and it's got a new needle in it. I was thinking I had one that had all the threads vibrated off of it, and I replaced it with a shorter one recently, and so I don't know if it's coming out of the spray bar or around the base of the Venturi, something like that. So I got to look into that. I got to be ready to fly on Thursday. And my P40 dropped its weight box trap door yesterday too, and I ended up slinging all the weights all the way around the circle, and so got to fix that. I got to cut the cuff. I got to cut the wire from the bell crank to the flaps, and set it up so that I can put the rod to the elevator in the right hole. That means putting an L bend instead of a ball link, and I'm going to have to cut the wire to do that. It's that cheap little 16th wire that they put on this P40 ARF coming out of the wing and to the flap, and I ended up with more flap than I do elevator, and it turns with only 20 degrees of elevator, it still turns like a combat plane, and so I got to fix that and get the weight box back together, and I should be pretty trimmed out. So we'll see. I got plenty of room for a bigger fuel tank, and it's a LA-46. So if I can't fly the Twister, if I can't get that fuel leak fixed, then I'll have a backup plane. I just am not getting ready. I'm not getting used to flying the P-40 yet, and I'm getting really good at the Twister. I'm actually flying low flat bottoms for the first time in my life.
Wow.
And, but running it leans like flying a galloping horse. And so, you know, I need to be able to run it rich without running, I guess. Gerald, good evening. How you doing?
Okay, thanks. Hello, Rusty. Hello, Charles, and
Hey, Gerald.
Sparky.
We got the big man Sparky on with us tonight.
Well, it's good to see you all there.
We appreciate your contributions to our little group, Gerald. Thanks a lot.
It's great for me because I'm normally at home, working from home, and right now I've got a crook back and I can't get out chainsawing or welding right now. So apart from a few other odd jobs, I'm free to get online now anyway.
Are the boys at home from school yet?
Oh no, they'll be home in about another hour.
So okay.
I'm looking at Super Chat, trying to find Frank a button, but I can't find that. But I'll tell you what, YouTube takes from every Super Chat 30%.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Frank, we'll keep looking for the button. When we find it, we'll let you know. If it's not tonight, it'll be next time. Better thing to do would be look for it in between sessions so we don't have to putz around with technical problems.
Has anybody ever built the RSM green box Noller? Don't know if that's a new kit or not, but it's laser cut. No, I have never built a RSM kit. I don't build many kits, as most know.
Yeah, not here. Nothing but ours. And Steve Hines was trying to join us. Here he comes. Maybe. Can you hear us, Steve? Yeah, he's still getting logged in. He's on a phone. I think he takes a while to get streaming. But anyway. So who flew Sunday, Saturday? Who all got out to the field this weekend?
Not me.
Nobody's raising their hands. You didn't
I flew today, as a matter of fact.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Well, that counts.
I flew basically a top flight score, and I flew a combat plane.
Oh, really? What kind of combat plane? Was it half A or speed limit or what?
No, it had an ASP 25 on it, and it's a
That's speed limit.
it's like the earlier generation of the Ukraine combat wings.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit. The newer ones have like more of like a duck elevator back there. That's what I call it, a duck. But the older one, I have the earlier generation of those Ukraine combat wings. It flew pretty good. Yeah, I'm trying to get to the point where I can do the stunt pattern on a combat plane. I figure if I could do it on a combat plane, then it would make the stunt pattern with a stunt ship like in slow motion, you know?
Yeah, that ought to tune your
yeah,
reflexes for sure. I'm thinking of getting one of my baby flight streaks with the Norvell 061 on it and practicing, because I can go across the street to the church and practice over there, and that's a pretty quiet engine too. But
Yeah.
it hauls ass. I need to slow it down. Maybe, you know, I can put an APC 6.2 on it backwards and maybe slow it down enough.
Huh.
But it's even with a 6.2 APC, it's still too fast for a decent pattern. But I guess it doesn't have to be decent as long as I, you know, just tune my reflexes up. It might start getting decent. But
yeah.
doing
I don't know how long it's going to take.
In.
I'm not sure how long it's going to take me to be able to do that, but ultimately, that's what I'd like to be able to do, is do the stunt pattern with the combat plane.
Yeah.
But,
I've got one half A combat plane, a Gladiator, but that's way too twitchy for trying to fly a pattern with. I mean, by the time you pull up, it's done 2 loops, you know, 2 loops the size of basketballs.
Yeah. I don't know if this is ever going to happen. It's just something I would like to do. I'm still getting comfortable with just, you know, flying the plane. It's so much faster than anything I fly.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Let me lock in on that. Gerald's got that.
Yeah,
looks like my gladiator. Yeah. Now that's
Yeah,
bigger
so
than that's what it looks like.
Let
like
me see
a
the bottom.
FIR size.
Let me see the bottom of it, Gerald. Yeah, mine is similar to that one. Yeah, mine's about that. Now my where the elevator is, it's a little bit longer on mine, but it's that same kind of design. Yeah.
That's what my half-A gladiator looks like. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah,
That's
very
a
cool.
Yeah, you can do.
on that one.
What'd you say, Sparky?
It does nice.
That's a diesel.
Oh, it's a diesel on there.
Yeah,
Oh,
that one's a diesel. Yeah, that one's got a PAW 19. So
very cool.
it's
Yeah.
gives a nice run. It's a
Now
lot
is
of
it a
fun
diesel
flying.
is it running on a bladder, a pressure bladder?
It's actually got a plastic tank in it.
Oh,
It's a see-through plastic tank running
Yeah.
Uniflow.
well, is that even possible to run a diesel on a pressure bladder?
I believe you can, and I've run them on muffler pressure, so you can do it. But
Okay.
this one, runs quite well on suction with the Uniflow, and the PAW diesel is a nice combination. It gives you almost like a stunt run, the PAW, and it's really nice doing all the maneuvers except the squares.
Yeah.
Doing the doing like a horizontal 8, the square is really hard. You tend to go all over the place, but the rounds, all the round maneuvers, it's really great. All the 8s, the vertical 8 and overhead 8, it's no trouble at all. But yeah, getting the accuracy, you'd need a longer fuselage to get the accuracy.
To tame.
I've used them to practice. And we often get such windy weather here. They're great on a windy day when you can't fly or you don't want to risk a good stunt model. So
Ken says,
combat wings all over.
who runs a Unix Mint? I don't even know what that is.
What you talking about, Sparky?
Kenneth says, who runs a Unix Mint? I don't know what that is.
Neither do I.
Well, that's yeah, I love those. Now, when you fly that plane, Gerald, do you put a streamer on the back like you would if you were at a combat match? That makes it probably a lot easier to control.
Well, it's very easy to control. You don't really need the streamer to help you any. I normally fly it on 52-foot lines, that one, and I've got a smaller version, a half-A one with an 09 diesel on it, and they fly quite nicely too. But I thought they'd be great for the boys to learn some of their basic maneuvers as well.
Yeah.
Kenneth, the reason why you might have a mic problem is that you're running Linux instead of Windows.
Well, he's been in here talking with us before, so I don't know if that's a problem or not. Oh well, sorry, Gerald.
Hey, there's
Okay.
Steve.
Hey, Steve.
Hey,
Hey, you finally got on, Steve. How's it going today?
Get on my phone. I don't know what, so I went and grabbed the tablet. But this thing is always darker in hell. You can hardly see me, but you guys really don't need to look at my pretty face anyway.
We all got pretty faces, Steve.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah, I know it.
This is a regular beauty contest.
We have good
Hey,
faces.
Sparky, I couldn't get on earlier today with you. It didn't even give me a spot to log in.
Yeah, because I didn't announce it.
Oh,
I
okay.
announced it in chat, but that's all right.
Yeah, I went to the YouTube. I went to the bench, and there was no way for me to link. And I seen somebody had tried to text you on there, however they do it on YouTube. But then you said you were getting off because no one came on. What happened to your garage?
I'm an idiot, and I let the roof go too long, and the water soaked the wall, and it just gave out. I had a toolbox sitting on a bench, and it all fell out in the neighbor's yard.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Holy cow! I thought maybe a storm or something. A good wind blowing in the garage door or something blew it out.
No, it's my own stupidity for not. About 3 or 4 years ago, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago, I don't know how long it's been, we had a wind come through here and it ripped the roof off the garage, the roofing paper, and I could see it out the bathroom window that the roof is off. I said, I'll get it tomorrow. Oh, I'll get it tomorrow. Next week, I'll get it. And it's out of sight, out of mind. I forgot all about it. And then finally, I went out there and looked, and the place is destroyed.
It looked like a bomb had gone off.
So,
Steve, you logged in twice. I'm going to try to turn one of you off. Hopefully,
Okay.
I'll turn the right one off. Okay, eject.
yeah, you got him.
Good, that worked. All right, good. Yeah, that might keep your
Yeah.
signal a little cleaner.
Too many model airplane building instead of taking care of business here. I got some other problems I'm gonna have to take care of in this house with water damage. I have a bathroom floor that's being rotted away that I better get after, else the toilet will fall through.
Bathrooms are such a pain in the ass, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah, what happens is you don't know that that wax ring leaks, and it'll start right there at the wax ring and soak back in. And once you finally notice it, God, no telling how many gallons of water is soaked in there.
They say to leave a gap in the caulking around the base so that if that starts leaking, you might know about it sooner than if you had it caulked all the way around and it all stayed under the floor.
Yeah, so it'll drip down below or whatever.
I got about a month's worth of work to do here, but I don't have the time. So
You can be like, don't be like Wendy, be in the basement working on a plane, then take your camera up to the bathroom where you're working on that too.
yeah, well, that won't happen.
Yeah.
I wanted to do the garage video just so that Jerry could see it, so I did that 1-minute video to show him what the garage looked like, because I don't think them guys believed me at work. When I said I had a motorcycle tie-down strap from one beam in the garage down to the vise that was holding onto the wall, because the bench and the vise was attached to the bench, and the wall was starting to push out. And I needed to get back to work, and I was going to take an extra week off and fix the wall, but I didn't have the money. So I said, well, I'll just take this tie strap and tie it to this, post over to the vise, and hopefully it'll make it for the 3 weeks I'm gone. And it didn't make it, and it snapped that leg off the bench and the vise, and bam, the toolbox went out into the yard and slammed up against the guy's van. Fortunately, the van's a piece of crap, so it don't much matter. But
Yeah, I saw the video.
it's a $500 project. I went and bought plywood, 8 sheets of plywood, 35 studs, and roofing. And
Oh, Wally's joining us.
Hi, Wally.
Hey, Wally.
She always, everything changes for her.
So Sparky, you gonna do it? You gonna fix the wall or get it shored up before you go back?
I have to build a whole wall and put a roof on and everything before I go back. I'll have that done tomorrow. Wally, shut off the YouTube stream.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good at least.
Yeah, my club brother came over today. I gave him $100 to help me, and he can't help me tomorrow because he has to work. But his son's gonna come tomorrow, and I have to pay him $10 an hour. So I'll work the crap out of him, and we'll get it done tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm glad you got some help.
Yeah.
That's good. Hey, how are you liking your place down there?
Oh, I like
Your other place?
it. In Dayton, I like it.
That's good.
So what you been doing, Steve? You been getting any flying time with Samantha, or y'all have been able to get out to the field at all?
No, we were going to go. She had to work Saturday, Sunday, 10 hours a day, and then we're going out today, but the wind blowing 25, 30 miles an hour all day. Then it rained. And it got fairly decent about half an hour before the sun went down, but the grass and everything's all wet, so we didn't go out.
What's y'all's next event on the schedule? What's y'all's next contest on the schedule?
Dallas, Texas.
Oh, that's quite a drive.
Yeah, it's that qualifier, whatever, World Championships
That's Houston.
qualifying thing.
Wally's trying to join us, but he's blinking in and out.
Sorry, guys. I can't get my camera going again. I'll be back.
Okay, good luck.
All right.
Yeah, I got down there in Dallas. Just about everything is sold out. They're probably bringing people in from Houston, putting them up and stuff. And I found one at a Days End, so it'll work. And it was only around $75 a night, so it wasn't too bad. That's with tax and everything. They had some real nice rooms. I just didn't want to pay like $200 a night to stay down there. They must have some really fancy hotels.
For $200 a night, it better be pretty freaking fancy. Yeah. I was out in my shop working this weekend on my.
Yeah, Holiday Inn Express, I think, was $448 two nights.
Good Lord, that's ridiculous. Must be in a nice neighborhood or something.
Yeah, I know it. Well, they said it's Texas at the Cotton Bowl that weekend. So,
yeah, that would draw a lot of crowd.
Yeah, because if I wanted to go next weekend, hell, I could have got rooms for $50-something.
Ken says it better have a few women with it too. Yeah. I don't think I've ever been to a hotel that supplies women. Well, I might have. I did stay in a hotel in Las Vegas one time. If I had asked, it might have. But, I wasn't winning at blackjack, so that might have made a difference too. I was out in my workshop the other night, and I like to leave the door open, just to keep fresh air flowing. And I got a light hanging right over my work table, and beetles and bugs come in and fly around that light. Well, I was working on something, and a cicada flew in and started buzzing around that light, and they don't have any sense of direction. They bounce off of walls and windows and light bulbs, and the next thing I knew, that sumbitch hit me straight between the eyes and landed on the table. And I looked down at him, and he was about 2 inches long, big old fat cicada. So he got back up and flew around again. Next thing I knew, he hit me in the head and got stuck in my hair. And you know what a cicada sounds like? Well, it started screaming. This little sucker is stuck in my hair and screaming as loud as he can scream. And I'm like, God, get out of me. And I finally got him loose, and he went flying back out the door, but scared the crap out of me. I didn't know what he was going to do, but with all the, they got sticky legs, so it was sticking me like crazy every time he tried to walk around on my head. And getting him to let go was a real treat in itself. So I might have to start either turning that light off over the. Oh, look what Charles has. He's got a electronic fly swatter. Did it cost you $3?
Yeah, I got it at Harbor Freight, and you inspired it, of course.
That is too cool. Have you stuck your finger in it yet?
No, I know better from watching.
Yeah. That was the highlight of one of my shows one night.
Yeah, I remember that.
It made a
Hey,
pop.
Carol.
Everybody.
To prove that we're brothers,
All
Oh
right.
boy, Sparky's got one.
All
it's
right.
a great cat toy.
Oh, it is.
Cool.
So it doesn't shock you if you stick any body parts in it.
Close this one out.
But this one that me and Charles are playing with, that thing throws a heck of a pop. I mean, it's a bright blue flash and kapow. Have you killed any bugs with it yet, Charles?
Oh, I just bought it. Matter of fact, I just unwrapped it to show you that I got one.
Well, you got to be careful because once you pull that out, all the bugs disappear. And so you got to sit there a while and wait for them to come back. They seem like they know what it is. Because the flies are bothering me. I'll go get it and then I'll come sit back down and there won't be a fly within a mile. But the third trouble is they always land on something you don't want to knock over. So you just can't haul off and clobber them with it, or you'll clear off the tabletop and knock your wife's wine glass over and whatever else. So handle with care.
I will. Hey, Sparky, I have a question for you.
I have an answer.
Yeah, I was curious. Your other cameras in your shop, what kind of cameras are they?
The one that I'm working on right now is a Logitech 720, 180 DPI, or no, 720 by 180, and so it'll do high def.
I haven't bought anything yet from Logitech that wasn't good. It seems like they make pretty good stuff. My sound system's a Logitech. My laser mouse is a Logitech.
My keyboard is Logitech.
Most of their stuff's pretty reasonable
there,
price.
Sparky.
What's that?
Is that the new PA-75?
Yep. This is my new airplane. Like it? Beautiful, isn't it?
Looks good.
So far,
Yeah.
so good. Not much wing on it.
Yeah, it's light.
Yeah.
Pretty nose heavy though.
Well, that is what Don Jenkins' Vertigo looks like now.
Oh, really?
The rest of it is completely, utterly destroyed.
That's his new airplane?
Yep.
How did it hit the ground?
He was flying over the circle up at Huntersville and somehow it got loose on him. I'm not sure what the whole story is. He wasn't in a real talkative mood about it, but he did bring the crutch with the engine bolted to it to the meeting last Saturday.
Oh, man.
And there's still a debris field on the paved circle up top.
You tell him his shipmate is disappointed.
I will. And by the way, next time any of y'all come to Huntersville, the circles will look a whole lot better than they have in recent history. We're having them, and this month we're having them resealed and all the gaps filled. And
Are they going to cut the trees back at least 10 foot?
I'm not sure if we're going to have that luxury or not, but they are going to fill the dip in so it won't hold water anymore. I don't think it's going to be a permanent fix because they want an incredible amount of money to permanently fix that, but at least it's going to be filled in and covered so that it doesn't hold water. And I guess we can roll across it without going down into the Grand Canyon.
I have yet to be to Booter Park, and we have a brand new circle, been repaved and restriped and all that. I have yet to be out there. They have a September contest coming. I won't be there. I'll be in Dayton.
Wow. Hey, Sparky, speaking of flying sites, you're familiar with Wood and Arrows, and they resurfaced that, I think, last year, and it's a really nice facility now. You know, there's no more grit around there, on the flying surface. It's pretty nice.
Gas Mask says, what a cool hobby. Dreamed about this when I was a kid. All I could afford was a kite, so I attached it to my fishing pole and made the best of it by dog fighting with my friends. Well,
Cool. Yeah, we used to kite fight too. In fact, my flying buddy makes flies kites especially made for buka kites. That's what they're called, especially for combat fighting. And you can fly a pattern just like you can with the airplane with one, all in the same place. Granted, you don't do circles with it, but you can have some pretty good fun with kites. Me and my cousins used to shred each other on the beach, flying those old plastic bat kites when we were kids. Well, hey, Gas Mask, are you a aero modeler now, or you still kiting it?
We just subscribed. Let me show you an airplane. It's the only one I have handy right now.
I'm glad to have you with us. All right, show and tell. Let me lock this in.
That's the one I just painted for a guy. I got 4 of them that I painted for him. But these are the size airplanes we fly.
That's pretty impressive.
What is that, Sparky?
This is an SV-22.
I like that SV-22. That's a sleek, pretty airplane.
How's the SV-22 different from the SV-11?
I have no idea.
Gas Mask is into guns and knives and prepping and guns and knives and stuff. Wally, maybe he's got his connection figured out now.
Hey guys, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to go to bed. I'm pretty tired.
Okay, Sparky.
All right, Sparky. Good to see you, Sparky.
See you guys.
Okay, everybody. I'm going to turn the fun light on now.
All right. Fair winds, tie line. See ya.
All right,
see ya.
Sparky.
Take it easy, Sparky.
I'm going to turn the fun light on now. I just heard myself turning the fun light on again.
All right. Fair winds, tie line. See ya.
Who's got their YouTube channel on in the background? I just heard myself turning the fun light on. Oh, well. Who's got their YouTube? Wally's having a heck of a problem getting in here tonight. He keep his little blue man.
Hey, Wally, take off your camera.
Is that better? Can you hear me?
Oh, we hear
I can hear you fine. I don't know why I have so much
trouble with this stupid camera. It says camera hangout. Hangout doesn't detect a camera connection to your computer without a camera or other participants want to see you. Okay.
I just turned it on from my end. I'm trying to. Hang on. Boom. Yeah, nothing's happening when I turn it on this end either.
I can't get nothing on my end either.
Well, that's all right. We know what you look like. I got a little should have a little picture of you I could tape up to my screen.
Ding how?
Oh, look who just joined.
Terry.
Hi, Daryl.
Hey, Terry. I'm glad you're here because I keep calling Kenneth Terry.
I've been trying to get on. I don't know what was blocking me, and I get on through YouTube via the iPhone.
We got a new member over on the YouTube side, Gas Mask. Scary as that sounds, he's a wishful aero modeler that had to substitute kites due to lack of resources. But hey, whatever it takes.
Hey, it's all good, man.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Hey, Wally, you make it?
Wally's having technical difficulties.
I'm here, but I can't get through on my camera for some dumb reason.
Yeah.
But I just barely walked in the house. I've been flying.
All right.
Oh, man. What you been flying today?
Nobler and the smoothie.
Very cool.
Okay.
All good.
Yeah, I'm trying to get that smoothie trimmed in, and it's not doing too bad now. Last couple of flights I had were coming along pretty good.
I've heard good reports on the smoothie. It's supposed to fly a real sweet pattern, even though it's an old-time stunt plane. Oh, Minnesota Mike came on YouTube. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Now the regular crowd's coming in. What'd y'all do? Wait for Sparky to leave? It's because I turned on the fun light. That's what
You
it
know,
is.
that's what it looks like, but that's not really what
Let's take a
happened.
look and see.
I was able to watch the show, but I couldn't get on. It just wouldn't let me on.
Well, I've been
And then when
trying
he
for 10
said
minutes.
he was leaving, yeah, and he said he was leaving, and all of a sudden it went bloom, 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 and I'm on.
Yeah, that's because I turned on the fun light.
There you go.
We can go wild now.
Well, I was getting on through Stunthangar and YouTube, but I can't get my camera to work again for some unknown reason. And I've checked everything I know how to check, and I don't know.
Minnesota Mike says, we paid Hangouts to keep Wally's face off.
Oh, there you go.
And Robert Ladd said, like to listen in. I think Robert's been on with us before, hadn't you, Robert?
Oh, my word.
Hey,
Hey,
welcome,
listen,
Robert.
guys, before we get sidetracked, I wanted to update you on those resin, I guess, tablets that you put in your fuel.
Oh, yeah. Let me get a piece of paper. I want to write that down.
No, all right, just wait a minute.
Okay.
I was a bit erroneous. Now, I bought my first batch of those from a club up at the Weak Signal show. And like I say, that must have been 12 or 15 years ago. And it was in a little bottle. They looked like those, if you have kids and they have those electric guns that shoot those little round plastic balls. That's about the size of these things. Well, anyway, they worked real well for us down here in Florida because we lose a lot of fuel when it gets contaminated with high humidity, okay? You know, kids leaving the caps loose, not putting the little seals back, that kind of stuff. At any rate, when those ran out, my buddy told me where he had found them. There's a gentleman that sells this for about $8 on, or maybe it's a little more now, I don't know, $6 to $8. I think I paid $6. Somebody just from RC forums and rcgroups.com, those groups. He advertises in there, and I believe he also runs ads in Man, Model Airplane News, and the American Modeler. I don't know if he's in there every month, but I don't want to, bust this guy's little business. You know what I mean? By telling you the name of this stuff, because who knows how many people are going to catch on to these great videos that Sparky and Rusty are creating. So, with the community coming in, including the people who just joined us on YouTube. I mean, that's where I was for what, Rusty, about 6 months or so?
You were there a long time before we actually got you in here with us.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But you need to get Wi-Fi in your house. You need a kick-ass Wi-Fi. I mean, how's my signal, Rusty?
It's very good.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's just the Wi-Fi in your house.
Yeah.
But at any rate, the guy sells this stuff. He'll send you for this. Let's say it's $8. He sends you a little brown envelope. He tells you where it is, where you can get it, and he gives you enough where you guys that don't live in Florida, you only need 1 or 2 of these per gallon. You probably got enough for a lifetime in what he sells you or gives you. Because we live in Florida, and we were running cars and boats and planes, but lots of cars and boats. Your kids can run the little 12.12 and the 35cc cars pretty much by themselves once they're savvy to the motors. But at any rate, it's a resin bead and it absorbs moisture. It's used in agriculture to hold moisture and dry soil. Now, there's guys out there that say that it screws your fuel up, it dissolves, it leaves residue in the fuel. I've used it in about 8 different fuels. I've never had that problem.
And it's solid. It's not a capsule or anything like that.
No, it's a little resin bead, and it absorbs moisture. Now, some of these guys, like I have a friend that is going to look up Shug. Like he's up in Minnesota, but he basically flies sailplanes, but he's a longtime control line guy. And I told him, listen, look up this piston popper group. They seem like a really cool group.
Yeah.
So get your control line plane out. Get over there. So he's going over, and he's the one that told me. Now, when he left Florida, he put some of those resin things in his fuel. Some of this fuel is 5 years old. It's got a little bit of, he said it looks like a little bit of dust in the bottom of the fuel. It hasn't screwed up the running of his plane because everybody runs with a pre-filter in your fuel bottle anyway, right?
Yeah. True.
Yeah. The reason why I think his fuel pellet, let's call it that, broke down is because it was never exposed to any moisture. If you want that, and I did an experiment, and my son reminded me. He says, Dad, when Kevin called you about that, we did the experiment. So I took some new fuel and put it in a very small container, like a spice jar, and very little air in it. And the thing has left a little bit of residue in the bottom, but it's not.
So I took some new fuel and put it in a very small container.
Anyway, I would use it.
Like a spice jar.
Like if you have a moisture problem, I would use it.
The thing has left a little bit of residue in the bottom, but it's
somehow I hear my playback.
Yeah, hey, Michael, just joined us. Mike.
There.
Okay.
Better.
Anyway,
Yeah,
he's out there, and the old saying is, I don't want to break this man's rice bowl. He certainly is providing a service, and I don't want to,
Gotcha. Yeah, it's no big deal.
my field doesn't hang around long enough to get wet as a general rule, but
yeah. And the
Jeez,
other
boy,
thing
my
on
night
the
was.
cables, my friend went ahead and bought all the cables required to run all the K&B outboards and some new ones that he's working on.
Cool.
Yeah. So he's making a deal with Super Tiger for power heads. And I love it because I like Super Tigers. I mean, the bearing motors, not the cheapies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's all speculation now.
Hey,
what are
Mike.
you doing tonight, Mike?
All right. How goes it all?
Good.
We're all right. We're just kind of getting in the groove now.
Good.
It usually takes us about an hour to get on track.
What, Steve drop out?
I
I
don't
guess he did, yeah.
guess he must have.
Yeah, we got out there tonight and was
Halfway on that conversation. What is that stuff you're
oh,
talking about for fuel?
A fuel pellet that takes water, binds water in the fuel. If you got fuel that's gotten too wet.
Yeah, what is it called? The last time I was on, he was saying you could get it at Home Depot.
In the agricultural department, yeah.
Well, we can't tell you because a gentleman is selling it for a very reasonable price, and I don't want to.
Okay.
well, you know what, Mike? You know where we're at in this dry air where we are in this high altitude. I haven't got a problem with, with fuel getting moisture in it. I haven't seen that problem in my fuels.
I cringe every time I forget to cap my fuel for a few minutes. And
oh man, tonight we got out there. Me and this buddy wanted to go flying. He says, "Well, let's load up some planes and go." So I said, "Okay." So anyway, out here, this is the stillest air that I've ever flown in my life tonight. I mean, it was more than it was a week ago when I went out.
Yeah.
And the smoke from all the fires around here, just laying in this valley here, and burning my eyes. Last time was burning my eyes from the exhaust from the airplane, but tonight it was from the smoke in the air. But he brings out my fuel can with part of my flight box, you know, and the fuel hose is just bobbling around. And so anyway, I put it back in the cap where it belongs, and I'm getting ready to run my lines out, and he says, you know, the bottom of your car's got oil or something in it.
Oh,
And
crap.
I seen it looked a little oily. Well, yeah, after I run my lines out, got them all hooked up and everything, I thought, holy crap, that thing was siphoning out fuel in the bottom of my car. You know, my car's got a rubber mat in the back of it, and that's what it was. It was the fuel evaporated, and it was the oil. And I said, well, that's what the deal was. It was siphoning out of my can, man. And so anyway, I had about a quarter of a can of fuel in there, and well, I had another can that was half full, and I pour into that one, you know. And anyway, we had plenty of fuel, but wow, I was sitting there, holy crap, I'd have never expected that. I didn't even think about it when he walked over with that fuel line dangling around.
Yeah.
Yes. So did it get under the mat and into the carpet and everything?
No, the mat has edges on it that go up about 2 inches.
Oh,
so it's still on the mat. It's in the very back of my outfit.
Yeah.
And I put my planes in the back seat, and then in the very back, I put all my flying equipment, and I run my rug out, and then I put my stooge on top of that. Then I run my stooge line out, and then I run my lines with my handle out. So, you know, and then I got to where it's fueling it all up. And that's when I actually started thinking about what all that stuff, where it came from. It came from that line just siphoning out and out of my car.
Yeah.
And, yeah, the smoothie is flying that with my easy adjust handle, you know, with the 4-inch setup on it. And it's like Daryl said the other night, you know, he's flying on 3.5, but you know, and it is a little sensitive. Actually, it's quite a bit sensitive, but if you're really easy on your, you know, handle commands, it actually flew pretty good. I got it to where I was flying some vertical 8s with it, and they were looking pretty good. So
that's good.
It's coming in.
Listen, when you're flying in dead air, be careful, because you punch a hole in that air that doesn't come back, and the next time through, you won't have any lift, and you will pancake into the ground. So take a step backwards on every move, so that you're flying in fresh air as you come back around. Or you can fly through your own wake and lose a plane.
Yep. You know, and there was a couple places I did have some wing wobble from doing that in my own wake. But on this airplane, I'll tell you what, on this smoothie, I set it up with that Al Raby rudder. I'm telling you what, even on these mid-sized airplanes like that, I'm a believer of that rudder.
No, that's a good system.
I'll tell you what.
I love that system.
I've never tried it.
I'll tell you what.
Since I flew mid-sized planes, I didn't really need it. I think when you 12, 13-inch, 14-inch props is where you start really
Well, I'll tell you what, even on these 40-size airplanes, you can tell. Didn't you set up your Strega that way, Charles?
Yeah, I did, and it was my first plane that had a Raby rudder, and I just love it. I mean, I'm like definitely from here on out, I'm gonna put a Raby rudder on a plane. I mean, because you don't need a lot if it's a small plane, then you just I mean, it's adjustable, so I think you can adjust it to whatever your need is, you know. And
I'll bet you on this smoothie I got from center to all the way through, it probably only goes about 3/16. And
that's a lot.
Tonight, flying that airplane, it felt like that was plenty. Coming around the top and coming back down, it felt like my lines were nice, you know, really nice. So
when you pull up, elevate, the rudder turns out, kicks out to the outboard side.
What happens is
showing his.
Go ahead, Charles.
I got Gerald.
This one here.
Oh, you got one, Gerald?
Yeah, Harry's got one.
Yeah, that one, I put right on this one back in the early 80s.
Oh yeah, you got a lot of throw on that one.
Yeah, when you give it down, it gives right rudder.
Yeah.
Down, right rudder.
I've got a little bit
when you go up, you'll get just a little bit. But
there
when
we
you
go.
go down, when you go down is when you get
down is
when
when
it really works for you.
Yeah.
And that's the purpose of it, is it helps keep the lines tight when
Yep.
you lose your speed coming up over the top. They work. You like yours, Gerald?
Yeah, it's brilliant. I've used it on other models since then, but this is a really old model with an old Enya 60 on it, and even on the Enya 60, it's still helpful in the wind.
How long have you had your 60?
Oh, I've been using Enya 60s for a few years now, but
You can't wear one out.
I love them.
Yeah, you can't wear an Enya out.
I've got an Enya on the shelf that I've never used. It's a 35.
Oh, you'll never wear it out. Not in your lifetime.
Hey, is your Enya a 3?
Mine is a. Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
I don't. It's a 35 size with a square plastic black Venturi on it.
Yeah, that's the one with the bushing. That's a good engine. That's a real good engine.
I've got a couple of the 60 TV Mark IIIs, and they're RC motors, but I do have the straight Venturis for them.
Awesome.
But that motor, when it came out, it had a little butterfly in the exhaust port.
Right.
Oh, there's one right there. He's got one.
Yeah, that's one of them. Yeah.
Well, hold it up a little higher, Gerald.
Gerald's got all the good
There
stuff.
you go. That's a ball bearing engine. That's beautiful.
That's the one.
That's a good one.
That's a 3. That's a 3, right, Gerald?
Nice.
Yeah, I've used the 2 of the 2 can be a bit finicky, but people generally try to get a better engine with the Mark III.
I'll tell you what, Rusty, you build an airplane, even a 40 size, and put that rudder on it, put that rudder system on it, you'll be sold. I promise you, man.
Yeah, I've got it on my Franken twist. So I'll be showing you that too.
You do the hourglass. That's when that baby rudder really shines.
Coming off that back top square, or
that hourglass maneuver, really gives you a lot of tension up there, a lot of confidence.
I think when Al started using those in the 60s, his airplanes were 40 size, or big for 40, but he was running 40 in the original.
I'll tell you what, this movie really works good with it.
What you got there, Gerald?
No question.
Oh, this is the kids on Stunt Trainer. Really rough, but it's got an Enya on it as well. It's one of the Enya 35, the 5225, one with the round insurance.
Oh, nice motor.
That's one ugly ass paint job, though.
No, I'll tell you what, those Enyas, they really have good needle valve systems. They're really good stuff.
Yep.
It's an old rookie
with us on YouTube. Oh, he crashed his Ringmaster Saturday morning.
Who did?
Damn, Jamie.
Oh, James did, huh? Oh, too bad.
Yeah.
You know
has
what,
a hard time
though,
with
Jamie?
babies.
Don't get discouraged because everybody crashes to the stunt gods to get to wherever.
Yeah.
I had a couple of close ones tonight. I'll bet you I was within 2 feet of the ground 2 times.
That's why you do it.
Oh man, I was breathing hard. It's like my heart was beating.
Yeah,
that's why you do it.
You got to get through that crashing stage, and then eventually. So I haven't really crashed in like 3 years, and I have had hundreds and hundreds of flights.
Well, you're damn good though, man.
But I had to
see your videos. You're very smooth.
And get them trimmed to get to that point where you don't crash anymore. But it's just part of the process.
Well, it gets to where you can feel it when you're getting too low. When you're getting there, you feel it.
Jamie says he was practicing outside loops, probably square loops too. So.
Oh yeah. Well, that's just running out of real estate. How many times have we done that?
Yeah, that's one of the painful lessons about those outside maneuvers. Is you got to bring your hand all the way down and around. You just can't give it down and keep it there. You got to follow it around because the plane moves, the input changes. If you're up here and you give it down, it's going to get the plane down. But as soon as the plane gets below you, you've changed the input.
Yep.
So
that's right. It does.
Follow it around.
Something I noticed.
Learned that, and I still don't pay enough attention to it.
You know, something I noticed last couple times out when I've been flying last couple of weeks that I haven't noticed, that I haven't done before. I've been putting my thumb on top of the handle, and I never ever used to fly with my thumb up there. It was always on the side, you know, going into my two fingers, my two top fingers, you know. And now for some reason, it feels good to me when I'm flying inverted to be able to have that push off my thumb.
The experts on Stunthangar will scold you for putting your thumb on top of the handle, but I say do whatever.
Turning your ass upside down too.
If it works, don't fix it.
Well, this
Hey,
is
Jamie.
the first year that I've done that like that.
Yeah, don't fly inverted like this because they'll put you on a cross and stab you.
You know what, Jimmy? I've seen Ted Thatcher fly inverted. He turned his hand sideways.
Yeah, my oldest son does that too. And I said, you know what, if that feels good to you, there's nothing wrong. Nothing says you can't do that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, really.
You fly that way too, don't you, Rusty? You fly with your hand sideways.
I do. I hold an overhand fist like that with the handle in it. Now I do look at my hand while I'm flying, and I'll find myself like this, but this is up and this is down, so that might not make a lot of sense to people, but that's how I fly.
Right. You fly real well too.
Yeah, have you always flown that way?
Yeah, because I didn't read the instructions when I got my first black plastic cock Stuka at 12 years old. My dad claims to have done all this before, and he's the one that showed me how to hold the handle. I can't go back and fuss at him about it now, though. He's gone.
Well, I'll tell you another thing. Tonight, I made about 3/4 of a tank of gas in my smoothie, and my little deflector coming out of the exhaust muffler came off of that thing, you know, and they say, well, that 45 right there really isn't supposed to be much of a holdback for your exhaust escape, but I'm telling you what, that engine ran probably 100 to 200 RPMs faster when that thing came off.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
You're talking about one of those exterior deflectors you just plug into the stinger?
Yeah, you clamp them on, the rubber ones, you know, like the Dubro or the Hobbyco, you clamp them on with usually they go on with a zip tie, you know.
Yep. Right, exactly.
And, well, I usually take my Dremel and roughen that up, you know, on the exhaust pipe there, so they have a place to grab, but somehow I missed it on this one. And that thing came off, and that airplane, like, holy shit, I thought the muffler come off because it got louder too.
Breathed a sigh of relief when it came off.
Yeah, and it's a pretty good size, you know, it's one for a 35 to a 60 hole. That's a pretty good size one. But that 45 deflection right there makes a difference.
I usually trim mine off. I mean, I trim it. I want the deflector properties. I want it to deflect it, but I make it as short with maintaining that deflector as possible, because I've noticed it puts too much back pressure on the exhaust system and ruins the engine run. So I trim mine down, but still allow for the exhaust to be deflected off my plane.
I think a piece of aluminum bent at an angle with a pair of tangs that wraps around the stinger and secure it somehow would be better than something that is completely enclosed that the exhaust flows through.
Maybe,
You know what? The way this is set up, if I even had one that was straight and it was about 3 inches long, it'd probably be long enough to keep most of my oil off the airplane, because that's really what I want to do, is keep the oil off the plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I like rear exhaust motors. I have a couple of them, and I just love. In fact, the plane I flew today is my top flight score with a double star 61. And it's a rear exhaust motor. And when I get done flying, you know, you just wipe the bottom of the fuselage, and most of the plane is clean.
That's the way to go. There is no doubt.
Hey, Charles, I'd love to see that plane on show and tell sometime.
I'm using one of those 762 mufflers, and it blows grease oil all over the top of the wing and the bottom of the wing. It's a mess when I come down.
That's coming straight out the back.
Yeah, and I landed in grass seeds the other day, and my plane looked like it had the pox when I picked it up. It had grass seeds in the Venturi and everything.
Wow.
Oh no.
All right, y'all.
And what you got, Gerald?
What's up, James?
Oh, a tongue muffler, you bet.
Yeah, they're good for splattering oil all over your plane.
Oh, yeah.
Aren't they? I know they are just. They make a huge mess.
Hey, Gerald, what airplane you got that on? Is that a Nobler?
It's a
not a Nobler. What is it?
Viking, you know? It's a Viking. I've got one wing here for it.
Oh,
Yeah, I know the Viking.
You know what?
Viking.
What
That's
engine
an
is that?
all-time
It looks like an old McCoy.
Yeah.
It's actually it's an Atwood Champion.
Oh, right on.
I want to start ignition. Nobody else seems to run start ignition here, but I'm keen to give it a go. And I just got to get a call for it and get some practice getting that thing running.
Oh, yeah.
But I've got most of it built now. I've been working on that during the week. And I've just got to put my lead outs in. The project lead outs were too short in the kit.
Hey, your wings look really nice.
Yeah, looks good.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yeah, Bob Zambelli brings his Viking out and flies it. And I think he's flown it. I might have flown it in Huntersville before.
Good job. Good job, man.
Very nice. I like your, what do you call that?
Shear webs?
Yeah, the shear webbing. It's real nice shear webbing, Gerald.
It's got the cap strips and stuff, but it's not the original construction. They updated the kit. The original had a spar that ran through the wing, and they've given it more leading edge sheeting on them. So it's a bit different to the original.
Good job.
So I'm quite keen to get that one going because our summer's coming up and we're just trying to get some new models on the go. And we've got a stunt contest in November that I'm supposed to be organising for.
Come closer, Gerald. I can't hear you.
Oh, we've got a stunt contest coming up in November. I'm supposed to be the contest organizer, so I better have a new model to show if I'm going along to that.
Oh,
even
cool.
if I'm just flying a vintage model.
Nice.
Hey, Gerald, I have a question for you. Because I see all these planes in the background. Do you ever make like for your engine, like a drill hole guide of some sort to mount your motors? How do you do that?
I normally just use a pin and make the marks on my bearers and then put it in the drill press and do it that way.
Okay.
But I use such a range of different motors. I haven't made up a template for it now.
If I've got one that's already got the wing installed in it, after I mark the holes, I've got a 3/4 inch square and 8-inch long brass bar that I've drilled a row of different sized holes in, and it's flat. And I knock the mushrooms off the end if I've been using it to bang on something, but and then lay that flat over the beams where nothing's obstructing it from laying flat, and then run the drill right through, and that will hold it straight. And that's my homemade redneck drill guide.
Well, that worked good, man.
Yes, I need to make a drill hole guide because my Strega, I have a little bit of a problem. My original motor, the guy that I bought the motor from, he had elongated the holes to make it so that it would work in his other plane, which had a different footprint. But now I have a brand new crankcase, which has pristine holes and a little bit different than the holes in the other plane. Of course, this Strega is already built, and I'm having to, I don't want to elongate the holes in my new crankcase. I really want to keep it pristine. So it's kind of hard when the plane's already built. And I'm going to cut out the top block, obviously, but I'm just trying to decide how to make a drill hole guide so I don't have to drill more than 4 times, if you catch my drift.
Yeah, you know what you can do too, Charles, is do what Rusty's been doing. I'm going to be doing it, is sink some threaded inserts in there.
Yeah, I've been using those too.
And use some, like that big engine, you'd probably want to use 832 screws to lock it in. But
but that's
still the hard thing, is finding the center to drill to actually be able to get your insert in there straight, so you only have one perfect hole going down for your bolt. That'd be a little tricky.
Yeah, that's what my dilemma is. That's kind of what's been slowing me down. Plus, other life things get in my way. But that's one of my biggest concerns is trying to get these 4 holes exactly perfect. That's why I was thinking of a drill hole guide.
You know what I would do? I would fill up those holes, completely fill them full of epoxy, and then you can mark them, and you can drill brand spanking new hole through that hole, through the epoxy, and that epoxy will be strong enough that then if you wanted to drill bigger hole there, you could have a guide pilot hole that you could drill down and then sink a insert if you wanted to use an insert. But another thing, if you're really wobbled out, you might think about drilling that bigger and embedding a piece of brass tubing in there, and then take your bolt right through the middle of your screw there, right through the middle of your brass tubing. It has to be just a little bit shorter than your hardwood block, and that way you're not crimping on you're not tightening down on your tubing, you're tightening down on your block. But that's just a couple ideas. But I would fill them holes up.
If I was going to fill the holes,
but it's that drill hole guide that I'm still trying to work out. I mean, I have a machinist friend, and he might be able to just look at my motor and make me one out of metal.
Yeah, that'd be actually the best way, because you could get that on your hardwood blocks, clamp it on, and then you can just drill right through those. That's your pilot holes right there, and you're dead center.
Yeah,
that's actually the cat's meow way to do it. If you can get one machine,
you could make one yourself though. Out of
you could
clear plastic packaging material, like a box of Krispy Kremes come in or something like that, and you can scribe it, and then you can mark your center holes with the an awl, and then enlarge them and check it. And even if you have to make it, and you can compare it because of its transparency to the motor real easy, when you get it where you want it and it's close, you can always buff it with like 220 sandpaper. Now it turns it opaque, and you can draw on it easier and mark it. And I've made bunches of those for, I don't know, a lot of the motors, because I think you can do a better job positioning a little template. I always check make sure I got a motor that fits, but I don't know.
Yeah, I've got
some my analism. I don't know.
I've made those out of cardboard. I got a drawer with box 35 and all of the OS footprints in it.
Yeah, I always
try that clear stuff though. It's really pretty cool. It's clear. You can see exactly.
One thing that Wally was talking about is filling the old hole with epoxy.
Oh yeah.
Filling the new one. I think I'd run a hardwood dowel. I'd epoxy a hardwood dowel down in that hole.
Do that too. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was thinking about doing, is taking a hardwood dowel and fill the holes. That's how I've always done it.
Yeah.
I worry about stretch risers doing that.
That worked good.
No,
you know what I would do. And I know you don't want to do what I would do. I'd hog the holes in the motor out.
I have another friend at the flying field sent me the same thing. Yeah. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna mess up the crankcase. I want it.
Yeah, you got.
No, don't do that.
Yeah. I understand.
Beautiful crankcase.
I should be ashamed of myself for being.
No. I mean, don't get me wrong. My Nobler that I just had an incident with. I first put a Super Tiger 46 in there, which I didn't bother the engine logs, and at that time, LA 46s were still being manufactured. They're plentiful. So I actually hogged out the holes in one of my LA 46s so that two also fit my Nobler. And that's because, there's no more Super Tiger 46s being made, but there still were LAs at that time. Now LAs are gone. But my biggest concern is just making it a template. And I've never heard of the wax paper from the cereal boxes. That's a good idea.
Well, it's not wax paper. Use that clear plastic packing that they use in bakery goods and cookies and stuff, or even some new shirts. I got a new shirt for Father's Day. It was in a clear plastic thing, and I made a template. In fact, I made a couple of them. You know, I make like 2 or 3 until I get them balls on perfect, and then I give the 2 that work to my friends. They're happy to get them. You know, they're really, seriously, they're happy to get them, and they tell me they work great. But
yes, so I know, like, you know, I'm the kind of person that actually have to. I learn things kinetically, you know, doing it and seeing it, and hearing you. I'm still having a little bit of a disconnect. I'm not really sure.
All right, darn it.
Like that.
Yeah.
All right, I will have. Listen, I'll have it next time for show and tell. I'll have it here. I'll show you the clear piece. I'll show you the ones I've made. I'll show you how. You know, see, and the fact that it's clear, you can lay it over the motor and see exactly how, you know, how much you need to. You know, I sit there with a little file and I file the holes until they're absolutely perfect. Then you buff the clearness away with a 220 sandpaper. Now you can write on it with a little gel pen. I'll show you next week, Charles. I'll have it for you. There's no copyright or anybody's infringement. So you can get it. I will get it to you.
Very good. Very good.
Well, do you need it tonight, man? Charles, like, do you need it now? Like, you don't want to wait till Friday? I mean, I've got a hurricane coming at me. I had to get my jerry cans filled today.
I understand. I mean, the sooner the better, obviously, but, you know.
Yeah.
I have to wait.
Yeah, the clear plastic, like you've seen that, right, at the grocery store. Or
I don't know what you're talking about.
Right, hold on, just excuse me a second.
All right. Thank you so much, Eric.
Hey, James, what you got going, bud?
Oh, none. Just to show it that the ringmaster's back alive.
Ah, good.
Good job.
Very good.
What, did you pancake it on the outside square or something?
Oh, outside loop, yeah.
Well, you weren't flying in dead air, were you?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Here's what.
You know what to do about that, don't you?
Yeah, but when the wind only blows like half a mile an hour, you know, it's like,
yeah.
It seems like a good spot.
I've lost a couple of planes to dead air forgetting to walk backwards when I do the loops.
Well, I mean, what it is, I was doing it because we were having trouble with the engine, with the tank, because I had the tank dead center of the Ventura instead of up and above.
Right.
And so I moved up to a 9.4 prop, like I said I was going to do like Friday or last week, whatever. And a couple of runs, I had a buddy of mine fly it. It looked good. So we needed it up, and I was going. I had full tension. So I did outsides, I did insides, I tried some squares, some wing overs. You know, just getting the feel for it. And the thing of it is, I was towards the end of my run, and I wasn't doing maneuvers in any particular order. But instead of going into my outsides inverted, like, you know, you posted it, I just went in, okay, I'm going to go up out of 45 and then come into it. Yeah, well, instead of going in at 45 and starting it, I more or less went in at a 30. So I made the first one. When I came back around, it was just too low.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
that's the lesson there, is to go into the flight with a plan and stick to it. And freestyling is dangerous.
Yeah. So, I mean, it hit hard, but the prop broke. I ended up getting a hole in the bottom of my tank that I soldered.
Oh, crap.
So that, I mean, it's just like a pin-sized hole in the seam. So I don't know if it's actually always been there.
Maybe.
Or what.
Yeah, give it a good pressure test, and it'll be.
Hey, it's so good that it blew the little caps off the tubes.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Yeah, that tells you not to use them in flight either. Those are only for in the drawer.
Yeah.
I just noticed,
all right, Charles, are you there?
I'm here, Terry.
Okay. Real quick. Right. Here's the clear plastic, right?
Okay.
This is cut
like
from
4 mil thick or what?
Yeah, it's probably about 5 or 6, and this came from a shirt container. I got a shirt for Father's Day. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's
So-
polycarbonate, right?
Yeah,
Something like that.
sure. Yeah. So what you do is you cut your little horseshoe out for your crankcase to drop down, right?
All right.
Then you set your motor in, and then I use this awl. You can do it from, you can mark it from the underside because it's clear, but I
Right,
use the awl because this is actually an ice pick that a friend of mine gave me because it just happens to be, I believe it's a 632 size ice pick.
All right.
So anyway, you get your little dots for your holes. I cut and sand the holes with little files until they're perfect, okay? Now you can look on both sides to make sure you can pass your bolts through to make it perfect.
Yeah.
So after you're done with that, you take your sandpaper, and just after a minute or two of sanding,
Right.
this goes translucent. You do both sides, and then you can
I see.
label it, and you're ready.
Wow, that is terrific.
Okay, that makes sense now. I was
Yeah,
thinking
that's a good
something
plan.
of the, so more like cellophane, you know, and I'm
No,
like,
no, not cellophane. It's rigid,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have to be real because you're not
I
drilling
understand.
through it. You're just using it to mark it.
right.
And then I picked up one of these. Where is it on my magnet thing?
Divider
God,
caliper.
you know, I
measuring the
I
crankcase.
loaned a few. A couple of my buddies picked up on those 36 evolutions.
Right.
Okay. And I loaned them my template, and I've got one of those Harbor Freight center punch tools.
Right.
It's got the spring in it. And man, is that nice for getting accurate holes. But I did put a better point on it for my eyes.
Okay.
I mean, it comes with kind of a point, but I put a point on it so that when you hit it, especially in the wood, you get a real nice center hole. Do your pilot hole with a 16th. Go slow, back it up, you know, in and out
Yeah.
Right.
to get the chips out, and then go ahead with your next drill size.
Very, very nice.
Yeah. I like
But-
free drill
Yeah,
things
Yeah,
like that.
I make these for every one of my motors, and I've been doing it. An old guy, I don't know, when that stuff first came out in the 60s. You know, anyway, it works. And
So just to clarify my understanding, so you're saying you cut out your U shape. Now you put your engine
Yep.
on top of that plastic.
yep,
Then you use the awl to demark the center of the hole. And then you
correct.
verify that that hole's in the center.
Right.
Looking
Then I
down through the engine lugs,
take
right?
enlarge the hole. You can even use an X-Acto, except it doesn't cut. I tend to use a little drill with my hands, you know, hand drilling it.
Yeah.
And then I get where I use one of those little micro files.
Yeah, little jeweler files.
Yeah, I got a pack of them again at Harbor Freight.
Those things are sweet.
Yeah,
I
they're
see the
sweet.
boys are home from school down in New Zealand. Hey guys.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Terry, thank you very much,
Hey,
Terry.
guys.
Awesome.
No, my pleasure, man. It's all about the brotherhood and helping. And Charles, I love watching you fly, man. Whoa.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I got to put up some more
And
videos.
Sparky, you're a damn good
Yeah,
pilot
I'll
as
tell you
well.
what, you're dang
Darn
good.
good pilot.
I'm working on it. Thank you,
Well,
guys.
you're doing real well. I hope to be as good as you.
Hey, guys, how you doing tonight? I guess it's in the middle of the day over there, huh?
Just about. Yeah,
Yeah.
return from school.
Yep.
Well, the days are getting longer, so you might be able to fly after school, right?
Oh, you got a
Well,
fly wing. Check that out.
Well, beautiful.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I was going to say it's a Brodeck biplane. So
Yeah.
it'd be a little,
Hold it up just
Yeah.
a little bit higher.
hold it up a bit more. See?
Just a little bit.
Uh,
Like
Oh,
it.
very cool.
Hey, that's awesome, man.
hand painted.
Very nice, you guys.
Not
Very cool.
Good.
There's the motor. You can see them in the motor there.
Oh, wow. That's going to be great.
Did you paint this
Wow.
center or did you cut? Is that yellow when it was new?
There's a little engine in.
Yes. Would you like to hear it?
Can't run it on the chance, right?
Well, it's we've got the fuel can converted and stuff and everything.
That thing is
Yeah,
neat.
yeah.
Love it.
All I've got to do is just insert the motor and neaten up the fuel proof it, neaten up the paint job, and we'll be ready to fly it. I started it quite a while ago.
Yeah, when you guys
Very
get
nice.
that together and fly it, will you come on and let us know how you like flying it?
Oh, yeah, certainly.
Cool.
All right, very cool.
Well,
You know, I've never built a biplane before.
Neither have I flown a biplane.
he's got a biplane. You can bring it down, actually.
Yeah, I've flown a 38 Special. That was my only biplane I've flown.
I've never
How
flown
did you
one.
like it? Did you like it?
Ah, there
Oh, I
you go.
like it. It's a lot of fun.
Yes,
Well, I think we flew in 2015. We did have some really big issues. Like the top face of the wing.
Oh, that's a beauty.
Yeah, you guys, that's nice. Wow.
Looks like a Newport.
made of foam, paper mache, and a little bit of wood.
Is it a Newport? Is that a
It's
Newport?
meant to be one.
It's supposed to be like a SE5, but we
Oh, SE5.
C5A, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Oh, I guess.
The OS40, but yeah, that's Max's one that he outbuilt a couple of years ago now.
Yes.
Well, you can say it had a bit of a crash, and
Oh boy.
yeah, you can say maybe you can just see it. You can see that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I see it.
I see it. Yeah, I can see where it's been repaired.
Well, we have to repair it with Gorilla Glue around there, so you can see.
Yeah.
Looks
Looks like you're about ready to go again, though.
Yeah, I like those wheels. Those wheels look
It
great.
doesn't fly too well, though.
Oh yeah.
Problem with it, it was just too heavy and it just crashed.
Huh.
And we got a good flight, and I saw them when they were flying, and they were holding constant up to keep it flying, and yeah, it's just the foam and the paper mache just weighed it down.
Huh.
But yeah.
We're going to head off and
Can
I just tell them the quick story about this?
Looks like you need some paint.
This was
I'll just say goodbye.
one of Dad's friends' planes.
Oh yeah.
With a claptrap. When he sent it to us, it was a clapped out trap simply.
Oh yeah.
So then he made it look authentic by putting the cover on, and then you wouldn't believe this, but if you know how to get this effect, you get old rope and put it on.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very good job.
Yeah.
That means it must have been from 1990.
Wow. I'll bet you that baby flies good too.
Yes, we posted some pictures of it to his friend. I think his friend's name was Kim or something. Oh yes, Ian.
Well, that's exciting.
I'll let off.
All right.
All right. Well,
Bye.
thanks.
Bye
Thanks,
bye.
guys.
Bye.
Y'all be good.
Oh man.
We'll see you next time. That's exciting stuff.
Oh, that is.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
man.
Good night, Gerald. Thanks a lot.
See you, Gerald.
Thank you, Gerald. Thank you, Gerald. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Oh man, that's fantastic. Oh, that's
Wow,
good.
it is.
That is. Yeah, that is the best.
Yeah, man, I tell you, it's amazing. That is
Well,
great.
Terry. Whoops.
Yes, sir.
The Magnum 45 and the Fox 40, which the 40 is on the Nobler and the 45's on the
Smoothie.
Smoothie, and I'm flying them both with that 3-bladed torpedo 10.5 or 10.4. And I'll tell you what, that 3-blade 10.4 really works out of them airplanes really, really nice.
Well, that's good to hear.
Boy, I'll tell you what, I wish I had a few more of them torpedoes. Those are the only 2 I have. And I'll tell you, I'd like, boy, if I ever run across more, if you do, don't pass them up, man.
Yeah.
They're good propellers.
I've got the master air screw like Rusty has, and I played with them a little bit, and they seem to be working, but I need to get you guys some videos.
Yeah, they do the master air screws. I've got some of them too. In fact, my son's Smoothie, he has the 9.6 on his.
Mm-hmm.
And that works pretty good, but I'll tell you what, this 10.4 slowing it down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'll tell you what, it's sweet.
Those master
That's how I like it.
are about an inch under pitched also, so you need to.
I believe so.
So they're more like a 10.5.
Yeah.
And I had a 10.5 on my Smoothie, and I went down, that's what I flew with last week. And I went down to this 10.4 and that torpedo. God, I'll tell you what, that thing handled really good with that torpedo.
I got a couple of torpedoes on the shelf. They're brand new too. Green.
Well, they're good props.
I think I got a 35 and a 25 and a spare crankcase for one of them. But they've got that funny press-on prop collet, for lack of a better term, on the front end.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about there. Well, these are just the propellers, the torpedo propellers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I was talking engines. Sorry, I was concentrating
That's
on
okay.
something else.
That's okay. I was following you just fine.
We've got a YouTube visitor, C. Trenfat. Hello, C. Trenfat. Oh, man. Well, I got.
Hey, Rusty.
Yeah, go ahead, Charles.
Rusty, I have I know you know about half A's more than I do. I know that I think this obviously is a 049.
Yeah, it's a baby,
right?
Yeah.
Isn't that a baby?
And
yeah,
that's what I don't know. How do you identify this from this one? I mean, this one here is about the same size, but it has this like firewall,
Yeah, it has no fuel tank.
That's what you call
that was made for a plastic airplane with a plastic tank.
That's known as a product engine. It came if it was originally like that, it came built into one of the plastic models, but the back plates are readily available for taking those tanks off and bolting the back plates on and using an external tank, and that makes it a world of difference in how dependable it is, because the ones with the built-on tanks like the Baby, that has so many opportunities for air leaks that it'll drive you freaking nuts trying
you call it BB, you said?
Yeah, that's a Baby. And they'll drive you nuts with air leaks trying to stop surging runs and inconsistent runs, where if you put that plastic back plate with an external tank, you've solved 90% of the problems that drove people nuts with Cox engines.
I realize this is a superior setup configuration.
Yes. The difference in performance will be the size of the venturi and the porting inside that cylinder. And if you look real close around the base of the cylinder or stamped on the corner face of one of the exhaust ports, there may be a number stamped into it, which can give you a clue as to what's in, what kind of porting it has. But some of them have twin bypasses, some of them have single bypasses, some of them have boost flutes next to the bypasses.
Now this one has slits. The exhaust porting is slits. It's not like
that's a newer version there.
A newer version?
Yeah, the older ones is the ones I like. That's got the big port or the big exhaust holes.
Yeah.
And this is obviously a Golden Bee, right?
That's right.
That's a Golden Bee. Yep.
Yeah.
I've
got
got
bigger
a bunch of
tank.
golden
That's an
bees, a
8cc
bunch of
tank.
black widows.
It's got an 8cc
I got a
tank,
bunch of black widows
as
too.
opposed to the 5cc tank that was on the little one.
Another production.
There you go. Yeah.
Backplate.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. You know what? That is a fine thread needle in that. Oh, wait a minute. Turn it so I can see the back plate face on. Never mind. Yeah, that's probably just a regular needle valve. I was thinking that had a fine thread needle in it. That's not.
Now, what is this here? This is a much smaller.
That's a peewee. That's O2. That's
Yeah, that's
0.020.
020.
That's 0.02 cubic inches, as opposed to 0.049 cubic inches.
Is this called a peewee?
Yeah.
That's a peewee, 020. Yeah, 0.020 cubic inches.
Okay.
Keep a hold of that, Charles.
Yeah, they're rare.
Yep, keep hold of that. If you ever come across 010, don't ever get rid of the 010.
I got one in a crystal case.
The 010 is little, is half that size.
Wow.
And they
Yeah,
are hard
one.
to find.
Like, how much is something like this worth?
$100. Well, not
Really?
that
A
one
little
because
more,
it's
maybe.
2.0.
I'm trying to raise some funds to go to the Golden State so I can meet Minnesota Mike.
There you go. Hey, you know what? But you know, Rusty's right, because I have a bunch of those with them tanks on them, the golden bees and the black widows. And in fact, I've got an F82 downstairs that, you know, is the double P51.
Oh yeah.
Well, anyway, I've got a golden bee on one side and a black widow on the other side. But it's like Rusty says, getting them things to run dependable is one pain in the rear end.
You know, Rusty's right when he says it's air leaks.
Yep.
What I do with a lot of my motors, I use that Permatex or Mr. Gasket. It's a blue, comes in a tube. And what you do with it, I apply it like with the 049s and stuff, and I just put a 15 together, but it's that it has the external tank. The 15's never had a attached tank. But at any rate, you put that blue stuff on both sides, and then you gently push it together just until a little is seen to squeeze out. Then you don't touch it for 2 hours. Then you tighten it down. Nothing leaks, and you can get it apart. It forms the best gasket. On my gas boats, a lot of the gaskets that, like for the exhaust manifold that they send you, I don't even use it. I throw them out. I go just with this blue gasket material. I never get any leaks. It never blows out.
With the Cox engines, with the tanked Cox engines, one of the biggest offenders is well, there's several, but one of them is the tiny flat ring that most people don't even realize
that little
that seals the venturi to the breather hole in the back plate.
Back plate, yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Hey, Rusty, can you get parts for the 15s?
Yeah.
I wish my camera was working. I got a 15 in my hand right now. I need the new, the whole plastic venturi. I need one.
I think you can get them.
xmodelengines.com or coxengines.ca.com.
Yeah,
Cox International.
I need to see if I can buy one. This one here, the intake's been broke, but it's the whole front part of the engine is this piece of plastic. I need to see.
Right?
If I can
is it red?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's red.
That's a medallion. That's a medallion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get some parts for this.
I think they have them. Rusty's right. They have them.
I'll have to look at that.
Search for Cox International or XEX Model Engines, and one of those two guys will have it. And if not, you can ask on coxengineforum.com. There's a guest posting area if you're not a member that you can post in over there.
See, I've got a Sterling P38 downstairs that takes two 15s, and I could go with two Fox 15s, or I could do two LA 15s, or I could do two of the you've seen the yellow jacket engines. That's like the ASPs. I've got 2 of those in the 15, and I've only got 1 Cox 15. But I got a lot of different ways I could go for putting engines on the front of that P38, and I might build that in our little build-a-thon this winter.
I'm right back.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, we need to talk about that build-a-thon before we get off of here a little bit and see if we can start formulating exactly what we're going to do. But hang on a few minutes before we do. Hang on a few minutes.
I don't know, whenever you guys want. I mean, I think we should include our internet guys too.
Yeah.
Our YouTube guys, yeah.
Our YouTube guys can get involved in it. I might have to move my computer down in my basement to do that, which Sparky. I wish I had my computer down there because I could show you my stuff down there. I got a lot of stuff
I'd love
down
to see
there.
it.
Yeah. Sparky's on board with it, though.
Okay,
so
cool.
I told him if we were going to start trading ideas about a particular portion of the build and see what everybody's answer to that problem would be.
Correct.
And if we run into a stump, I'll let him know that we've got something we want him to talk about, and
Good deal.
He can join us and give us an answer if we hit a stump or if there's just something that we can't agree on or whatever.
Good deal. He's the tiebreaker.
Yeah. Hey, Mike.
What's up?
Will you be able to build this winter, or you got too much schooling going on?
School should be done by mid-December, but things are kind of up in the air if I'm even going to stay in this area.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Come over to Idaho.
I can.
Come over to Idaho where I'm at so you can fly with me. I need a flying partner. My boys have been out on their ski boats, and I can't even get them stopped long enough to go flying this summer.
Oh, too bad.
What, you're up in Pocatello?
Yes.
Huh. What's the cost of living and stuff look like?
It's probably about as cheap as you'll find anywhere.
And in my case, where's the nearest VA facility? I am
up on the hill up here. We have one.
Oh.
I'm going to walk away for just a minute. I'll be right back. Y'all hold on for it.
Get on the internet there.
Even further from my wife's family.
Hey, Mike, you might get on the internet though and look at the VA, facilities, and look in Pocatello and see what they come up with. I know they have a home up here where people live. That's from the VA get to live up there. And other than that, I really don't know what to tell you because I've never, had any need to look for stuff like that. But
I can get online and see what you got available. Yeah, I've always kind of liked Idaho. I really like northern Idaho, but I don't think I'd like the winter much up there.
Well, the winters up there are actually more mild than what we have here where I'm at because their altitude is, like up there around not Coeur d'Alene, but Lewiston. Lewiston, they're only about 2,000 feet elevation there. Where I'm at's almost 4,500.
Well, you're up there, man.
Yeah.
So you're getting all the smoke from the Montana fires.
My gosh, you wouldn't believe how smoky it is
bad.
here. Oh, it's terrible.
That's bad.
That's one of my favorite places. I love the Polson and that area of Montana on Flathead. That's gorgeous up there. Yeah. But that's on fire.
Yeah, I looked at the map the other night. There's a lot of fires all over this northwestern country.
Ken just suggested come up to somewhere, but I didn't walk up soon enough to see where you said, Ken. He said he's on keyboard power tonight.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, I may investigate that because I'm done with this semester. We're going to have to find something different. There is no employment here whatsoever other than the hot shops, and I'm not going there.
Yep. Hey,
there
Charles.
are a few jobs that come and go. You just have to be looking.
Excuse me, Wally.
Go ahead, man.
Charles, on your template, when you get your first hole done, run a bolt through it with just a simple nut, and then you work on your next hole, right?
Okay, I follow you. That way it won't move around on you, right?
Yeah, and then you don't need the awl. You can obviously my son's watching us on YouTube because he came in and he was talking to me. You can line up the hole on the bottom with a pin. You can, because you're looking through the bottom of the motor. You can get the center, just poke it with a pin, and then.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay.
Man, that is such a sweet idea.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, it's so simple. It's genius.
Well.
Yep.
Hey,
that's
remember?
Amazing.
Flat Earth.
Away. I'm trying to get me something. I'm done.
That's funny.
Let me know how it works out, though. I think you'll.
Oh, I will. I'll be doing that soon because that's the one of the things.
Of course, you cut it to fit your engine compartment. You know, you cut it to fit your engine bearers. You know.
Yeah. That's man. I can't wait to find a piece of plastic. If I have to, I'll just go.
Well, go to Wally World. Even the Halloween stuff comes packaged in these clear folded containers.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that stuff. I'll definitely start hanging on to that stuff. That's a really good idea. I love that idea.
I think
you know my friend who is he's a real good model builder, and he's real shy, and he lives up in Wisconsin, up in Kenosha. Sorry, I had to reveal where you live, but nobody knows Kenosha. But he tells me, man, you need to share all the little stuff that you do because, you know, we all assume that everybody knows what we do, or, you know, it's like when I watch Sparky build, man, I learn stuff. And same thing with watching Wendy Arnowski and all these people and talking with you guys, and you know, but there's so many little things out there that you can.
Those little jigs are so.
I'm a jig person. I love it. You know.
Yeah.
You know,
there's a guy, Alan Parrott, I've never met, but he seems to have a lot of ingenious ideas. In his hobby.
Yep.
You know, some of them he's written articles on, but I'm like, man, I'd like to see his garage or shop. I bet he has all kinds of neat little things.
Here's a little sander that I made for sanding. I lined the metal ruler up on a foam wing. It sands a groove for a carbon fiber spar and a foam glider wing.
Very cool. That's very cool.
But it's just a little sander. Right. It's nothing, you know. But you line it up with your straight edge, and then you take it down, and it's the exact thickness I need. So, and then you lay your carbon in the spar on the foam wing.
Right.
Yeah. We use that
first time I saw Wendy Arnowski use his little sanding jig to make the little recess for the barrel of the hinges.
Yeah.
I was blown away.
Me too. Yeah. And I made one of them, and that's how I do mine now.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely.
And then
yeah, me too.
And then there was another little thing that he made. I might even go grab it. Let me go grab it. I'll be right back.
Okay.
But you know, everybody builds, everybody has their skills, and that's what I've always said. I build plastic models like crazy.
See, I love styrene too.
And it's a matter of everybody sharing the things that they do, because everybody can learn different ways to do stuff from everybody.
Exactly.
I love that.
Have you seen, Wally, have you seen like Flory Models or Dr. Cranky or any of those YouTube guys?
I haven't. I really haven't. Yeah. I've got a few YouTube guys that I watch once in a while, but those guys I haven't seen.
Well, you know, I don't want to promote other channels, but for plastic styrene addicted people, Flory Models and Dr. Cranky. He's in Florida here. He's
on.
I believe it'd be quite all right to promote other guys' channels if it's something I think people will like. Yeah. The more the merrier.
Yeah, I would say go hit search on YouTube and subscribe, and they're real good. You know, a lot of the YouTube creators, I know Sparky got hit with this too. When YouTube was purchased, I mean, they knocked the feet out from these people financially by pulling all the paid ads and stuff from their channels. I mean, a lot of these people were making millions of dollars and then went not making that much.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Like there's a young guy I follow. I'm also into aquariums. Of course, I live in Florida, but you know, I grew up in Wisconsin, but I've had aquariums forever. And
hey, Minnesota Mike's posting over here. He says Charles has to fly combat to beat me. I think we.
There you go. That's it, man.
You know, and the thing is what we're doing, you know, control line stuff. Well, I like watching everybody's videos, you know, like say James, I watch his videos, have a good time watching them.
Daryl
does everybody.
Yeah.
Rusty, I've watched some of Rusty's probably half a dozen times.
Yeah, I've seen his a couple times. Absolutely.
And it makes it funner is when, you know, like, you know, and Sparky and, you know, when we're watching somebody flying, like we know that we're in here grouped with, you know, it just makes it more personal. It makes it that much funner to me.
Yeah, I get it.
I watch myself fly sometimes when I get bored. I'll go watch myself fly on YouTube, but I always say to myself, oh man, I suck.
I know. I've done that too. You watch yourself and you go, oh, there you go, Charles. Same old thing you do all the time.
It's all
yeah,
good,
this is what I was talking about. I don't know how well you can see this, but it's like a height guide.
I can see it.
When I'm in the wing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it
You
just
bet.
them down. Has
Yeah,
hold
hold
through.
on.
And
I have been so wanting to make one of those and never have gotten around to it.
And so it's
Look at this.
just the height, so I can go around the wing and make sure it's all
Yeah,
at the
same
same
thing.
level. So I got the little pointy X-Acto blade. So I glued that
It's
blade on the back of it.
genius.
Now, this idea I got from Wendy Wanowski. I wish I could take credit for it, but I thought it was the neatest tool.
Very good tool.
We just slide them down. I just lock it in.
Yep.
And it's for a height guide around the whole wing. It's again, I got that watch.
What I use for that,
Perfect.
I do the same thing with a pair of divider calipers, like a compass. The two sharp prongs
Right.
Yep.
spring out
Right.
from each other. In
Here, you
fact,
see
I
this
was
one?
trying to say when Terry was talking about grabbing the
Yeah,
plastic.
there we go. That'll work too. Yeah, exactly.
And I just use a gym clip.
I see. Yeah, that'll work.
So
Yeah, I mean, it took me a while to make mine. That's you go quicker. You get the job done.
it's the only way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just go around the whole thing and make sure it's all level. That's cool.
Yeah,
Well, that's what'll be nice about doing a group build is because we can kind of show different ways we're doing things, and it'll be cool. It'll be cool.
I agree.
Yeah, I got to get my my bench cleared and my garage cleared to do that. Right now, my priority is just selling some motors so I can raise some funds for this contest in October.
Well, good luck. Get some stuff done so you can go. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, you probably could sell those cocks on eBay or one of those places.
That's what I was entertaining doing. Matter of fact, I have I think I figured about 13 inches I'm going to let go of. So that should clear enough money to afford my trip.
Yep. Yeah.
Mike.
Well, I've been there, man.
Oh, well, I was typing the mic, but got dead air now. So anyway, when Terry was talking about scrabbing the plastic for the engine templates, when I mentioned divider calipers a minute ago, it reminded me that that's what I use for scribing the width of the crankcase. You know, just I couldn't live without those calipers. I got a bunch of different sets for inside, outside, and straight down with sharp points like a compass. And those things are the first step when I'm making an engine template for drilling, is to scribe the width of the crankcase, and then you know, cut that out. The engine will fit right in without having to fiddle around with it. Hope you get it right the first time.
Right. Exactly.
What about when you're putting the screw holes through the plastic? What about heating up that punch? And
yeah. You can just use a safety pin, and you could heat it up, but all you have to do is push it in from the bottom.
Yeah.
Just a safety pin is sharp enough, and then use a little twist drill by hand. When you get your first hole drilled to the correct size, then put a nut and bolt through it just to hold it in place.
Yeah.
For the other 3 holes.
I need to get a better pin vise for working with little holes, hand drilling holes. I got a Chinese one that's about shot. I've broken about half the bits in it. It's time to get a decent one.
Yeah, I'd get that set from Jim Lee. I really, matter of fact, I learned that from Sparky. Sparky was talking about how good the set that Jim Lee makes. They're finger drills. And I've used them, and you know, when you look at it, we're building planes with 1/8" plywood at the thickest, so you don't really need a power to put a hole in there in the material we're using. So the finger drills work excellent.
Yeah.
You don't get any tear out or anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So those are tools I use quite a bit.
I'd also like from Jim Lee. Because I think they're probably high quality and good steel, is a set of screwdriver type Allen wrenches about 6 inches long, and there's so many times when I've got a T-handle and I'm trying to turn it, and I have to slip a piece of fuel tubing over the T-handle's got a wrench coming out of the top of it, a little short one, and that's a good way to tear a wing when you're turning something, like a fuel tank bolt or something, and those long ones you can't put a lot of torque into.
Grab these.
Because I'm famous for over torquing, but the T-handle ones I've got from Harbor Freight, I have to grind the tips off them every time I use them.
I know.
The steel is too weak. You gotta have a quality ball.
So weak I can't even put it back in the holder.
Have you guys tried any of these fasteners?
Let me see.
From RTL.
No.
Well, I got their servo screw set, and what these are these. It says value pack. It's servo mounting screws, but they're a little cap head socket screw.
Oh, that's
these
cool.
things are phenomenal. They're phenomenal. I use them on everything.
They're pan
not
heads,
just for servos. I don't know if I can show that to you.
Oh, they're
okay. All right.
Oh,
that's nice.
Yeah, I like those too.
Was that a socket a cap screw head?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then when you
flanged, got a flange on
it. It's got a flange like a washer on it. And then when you buy your socket heads, I'm sure Jim Lee has some good ones, but these were about $15 for a set of 5.
Right.
And they're the ball ones.
Yeah.
I bought them about 6 years ago, and they have not failed yet. And I use these a ton on my boats.
I bought a set of Great Plains ones not too long ago, and I'm hoping they're better than what I had.
It is
Bondus.
Yeah, I bought Bondus before.
Great Plains. It's Great Plains, whatever.
Great Plains, okay. I have a few Bondus.
Okay, mine have yellow handles, but same thing, I guess.
Well, so they have the yellow handle ones and they have the reds. And the reds were more money. And I remember I had those bonus dollars to use up, you know what I mean, that they give you. And I said, well, gee, I need a socket set. And, with kids and RC cars, my socket wrenches were disappearing.
You couldn't find any
daily. So I got this set with red handles and put them up on my magnet board and said, all right, those are Dad's. They stay at the bench. You can use them, but they don't leave the bench.
Very good.
And they haven't wore out, but they're the more expensive ones.
They're probably better steel than my yellow handle ones.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have I've had the yellows, but they disappeared on me. I would have reordered a yellow set, but they were out. I ended up getting this one, and it was not quite double, but you'll see it in there. They're about 15 bucks, 16 bucks.
First time I bought a set of them, they were mispackaged, and it had two of the tiniest of them, which I hardly ever used, and it was missing the 256.
Oh yeah,
which that's the one I wanted. That and the 440 is the one I wanted most of all.
Have you guys seen these? Do you know what this tool is?
Yeah, I have two. I have two of those.
All right, the best, yeah, artist knives. The best epoxy tool on the planet.
That is so true.
I've got
I see Wendy using popsicle sticks, and I know that the tapes were done back in the 90s. I'm thinking, wow, I should have communicated with you. I could have turned you on to that.
That is you know what? I haven't used them for epoxy, but that makes more sense. I've used them to put down some of the epoxy light or, fillet material. You know?
I use them for mixing and everything.
Micro balloons,
little cups.
Yeah,
micro balloons.
But now I use super fill.
Oxalite or whatever.
Here's my micro balloons.
Yeah, I've got it.
Yeah.
Listen, you can buy that epoxy light stuff, but you can make your own if you have 5 or 15-minute epoxy, some micro balloons, and a little Cabasil. You can custom blend it to what you need it for. If you need it more putty-like, if you want it to glass out and flow a little bit, it's real easy.
Right. I know Wendy talked about Cabasil. I just haven't gotten around to getting Cabasil.
And I kick my stuff off and I dilute it with denatured alcohol. I know Rabe uses acetone and stuff. Now I've laid up long easy wings. You know what those long easy is?
Long easies, yep.
Yeah. Well, I built quite a few of those with friends. Very easy and long easies and velocities and glass airs, but they're different build. But where you cut the wings, foam blocks, you build your fuel cells, build out from there. We use alcohol. We don't use the acetone because you can't get it near the foam.
Okay.
And it's much safer to use, and I clean all my tools with it. And your little chip brushes here, these things, right?
Right.
Use these for fiberglassing and stuff. Before you use it, there's two things you can do. One of the biggest problems with these little brushes is they shed the hairs.
Right.
Oh, bad.
So there's two things you can do. This one friend of mine, he takes, see, all of us old guys are on Cypionate. That's testosterone. Okay. I'm on Cypionate, okay, through a physician.
All right.
I'm 69 and I ride my mountain bike like a 28-year-old. Anyway, you can take your syringe, you can stick it down in here with some finishing resin. He puts them on a threaded rod. He has them about this long, and he puts a little drop of epoxy down in them. Well, I didn't want to do that. Just take a little thin CA, just a touch on each side, and before you use the brush, and then you won't shed as many bristles.
Thank
then
you.
when I get done with the layup, I use the isopropyl, and I've been brushing it out on my takeoff board, on my stooge board. You see the finish on the board?
Yep.
That's all from like brush cleanings, but I keep it right by my station, and every time I'm sanding a boat, I'll take my DA to it so I have a fresh spot I can put some more finish on it.
Very, very cool, Terry. Very cool.
I'm glad you told us about the CA or epoxy to hold the bristles in, because I use those same brushes by the dozen.
Me
Those
too.
are cheap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Harbor Freight.
You said it.
Buy them in the package.
You said it. But
Very
go
good.
ahead and Google that RTL fasteners. They're real nice people. They'll actually, if you find the website and sign up for their email newsletter, they have a pretty good 30% off Labor Day sale that I think they're taking out for the rest of the week or something.
I like those. I've got the wood screw version of them, but not the machine screw version. And
yeah, I've got both now. Yeah,
that would be good engine hold down bolts too.
Excellent.
What is RT?
RTL.
RTL. Mm-hmm.
RTL fasteners.
Like if you're in AMA, they're in the AMA magazine. They got a big ad in there. But they're good people.
Yeah. I imagine they'll do flyers and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to do that.
You know the little epoxy cups that Tower has? They
Yeah.
have a sleeve for $3. I ended up getting a sleeve of those. I can't wear them out.
You know what you do?
After the epoxy cures, you just go like this and it all comes out. Look at this.
Yeah.
It comes right out.
But I got a package for, there must be at least 500 of them things, if not more, from their medical. The medical people use them. You get a great big huge bag of them things for, it's only like, it's not even $5.
No, I know
and I got enough downstairs in my stash to last me a lifetime.
Well, it's amazing.
You know what, you guys brought up epoxy, and what I use, I buy a lot of, I love mixed nuts. They got that plastic.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That lid's great.
I collect those lids, and what I use those lids, I take a Sharpie and I'll mark 2 lines, and then I'll spread out the epoxy. As opposed to those cups, because a lot of times those cups is too much epoxy than what I need for what I'm doing. So for a little small job, I get that little.
Do you know how to measure? Do you know how to measure out of your squeeze tubes? Here, like you got your epoxy tubes here, right?
Right.
Because I'm dyslexic, Charles, I rubber band mine together because in my little epoxy bin over there, I've got 5, 10, 15, 30-minute finishing, thick, different kinds. So I keep them banded together. Because believe me, I've done this before and wonder why it hasn't set up.
Right.
Oh, man.
What
that
a mess.
Makes a lot of sense. You know what? I might rubber band all mine when I get off this phone. Because all mine are
well, anyway, what you do is make sure you cut your openings. Now, if the viscosity of the A and B is a little different, you may have to adjust your opening, but usually they're very consistent. Okay. So what I do is use just a gentle squeeze and look at the size of the stream and count 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3. Done. Then I do the next one the same way.
I always have to hold my card. I do it on a card, hold it up on edge and look and see which one's taller. And then if it,
well, you can see how you're doing later on. You can check your bottles and see how accurate you are. And you can look there. I'm right on the money.
Yeah, I do the same thing.
I just count. All I do is count.
That is a very good idea.
I like to put mine in a little warm water, warm it up so it's a little thinner viscosity and then mix it up.
I do that quite a bit.
But anyway, those plastic lids, I just mark 2 lines and just squeeze out between them, and that's how I get them equal. But that I just will just bend that and then throw away the epoxy and I can reuse it over. I got so many of those lids. I haven't used those.
Yeah, they work nice.
Years.
Yeah, those they are nice for sure. Smaller mixes.
Yeah, and I just mix it right there on the plastic thing. So I measure it and mix it right on there.
Well, don't try to do too many micro balloons on that because they're the slightest little breath, and you don't want to breathe those things.
Oh my,
No, they're glass. You'll be inhaling.
Yeah, you want to just hold the cup away and stir it real slow, and you want to use some sort of a cup. I mean, I do those protein Garden of Life protein, man. I do that for breakfast and lunch. At dinner, I eat whatever I want. And they come with these scoops.
Yeah.
So that's one of my epoxy things.
Yeah.
In fact, I just did the finishing resin for that boat.
I see that. Okay.
Yeah, I recycle everything, man. I love it.
Same here.
Yeah.
Avoid mixing in cups because it reduces
my wife, before she throws anything away, she goes, "Could you use this for your hobby?"
Yeah, good for her. God bless
her.
Man.
Yep.
Especially when I was in half A, I was always on the lookout for things I could use for making a model airplane, but not so much anymore.
Yeah, well, those little mixing cups, I use those mostly for mixing paints than I do.
Yeah, I
mixing
do them
glues.
for paint too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hold them with a hemostat.
Yeah, my kids, when they have those corn dogs, they save the sticks and they give them to me, and they have popsicles. They saved the popsicle stick, so
Oh yeah.
I
If you
like
had
I just bought
credit
my
cards,
ticket
right,
at
for
Walmart
not as
once in a
wide.
while.
Yeah.
yeah,
You know what I
good.
like is the long wooden tip Q-tips that are in the doctor's office.
yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I like those
Here,
too. I
there's-
used to ask him for some.
used
Oh,
old
credit
credit cards.
Yeah.
Epoxy
Yep.
strips.
Oh yeah, I got a box full of worn out
Scrapers.
Yeah,
credit
the
cards.
best. Yep. The best.
I always smooth the edge of my credit cards with 600 grit.
Yes, sir.
paper.
Take the edge off. Yep.
Yep, and but
Yeah.
I just found popsicle sticks at Walmart. They come in handy. That toothpicks, you know, lots of little wooden things I can pick up. Like if I'm mixing JB Weld, it's usually on something little, and I'll mix it with a toothpick and apply it with a toothpick. I had some JB Weld not set up hard enough for me, and finally, after about a week, it got hard enough to where I felt safe with it.
Yeah, the hardener is what deteriorates. But as long as you did get some hardener in there, it will kick off. But it just takes
takes
longer.
time.
Yeah,
Yep.
it takes longer.
One thing I was about to mention when you were showing your bottles rubber banded together is when I apply epoxy out of the tubes, I always hold the hardener in my right hand, the resin in my left hand, set them on the table that way, and I know which puddle's which.
Gotcha.
If they're the same color, and so that helps too if I forget.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm terrible about forgetting things that happened 2 minutes ago, and I cannot work with 5-minute epoxy. I just failed to get everything the way I want it before.
Yeah,
it
it's too
hardens.
quick. I don't
Yeah.
think I even have any. I've got 15 minutes. I
When
think
I-
that's the fastest.
When I
I've got.
rush, I do a horrible job when I rush at anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
30 minutes what I've got, and
Yeah, that's the majority is what I use for
I used to
construction.
like the Loctite brand's 60-minute, but I can't find it anymore.
I don't ever use that long stuff. I like the 30.
Yeah, I've got 30, and then I've got some. I fly high power rockets, so we have to keep a build. I have to keep a builder's log for high power rockets, and in the builder's log, I have to have the purchasing slip and a picture and of the epoxies used to put these airframes together, and you have to use Aeropoxy, and there's only a couple places to get it, like Wix and these other places, and it's an aviation grade epoxy that comes. The smallest amount you can get is a quart can of A, a quart can of B.
Kenneth says he uses CRS. What is that?
CRS it's an epoxy brand. I think I have some here. Yeah, that's a real strong one too. We can do a show and tell on that too.
You know, marine stores are a good place to get finishing resins and different types of high quality epoxy.
Yeah.
But I think it's more critical about mixing, and it's not always 50-50.
No, you gotta. I mix it, and I have a digital scale that's in a Ziploc. That's how you mix that stuff.
Okay.
More or less by weight.
When I was checking regular epoxy to see if it was the same weight, and it's not even
No,
close.
it's different.
I wish it was.
Like I use a lot of Interlux products. I build. Well, I haven't built any in a while. I don't know if you can see over there that American flag.
Yeah.
That's on the tail end of my racing kayak. My other kayak, my hardshine, is out by the pool because I like to, if somebody's going to borrow that boat, I like to train you in my pool first, because it's tipping over is not a big deal because I have one of those bailers in it that you just pump the handle.
Yeah, but you got to teach them how to roll over and recover and that sort of thing.
Correct. Yeah, but most people don't tip over. You got to really work to tip over.
My son went to a high school that had a great outdoor program, and they had a pond for practicing and learning kayaking.
Oh, yeah.
Then they go run rapids.
And
then they went and ran rapids down at the Saluda River.
Oh, yeah, we don't have rapids here. This is I just paddle. I do go out in the ocean, but most of it, 99%, is in the intercoastal and up to Jonathan's Landing. And we actually can start across the street from here in the salt water, and it turns to fresh up into the Loxahatchee Swamp area.
Yeah. Jim Ballard over on YouTube addressing Terry says he flies HP as well. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
What are we talking about there? HP?
That's I think it's an epoxy.
Oh, okay.
Here, this one. Maybe this one, AHP.
Let me lock on you. Yeah. Jim, is that what you're talking about? Okay.
Off of the site on eBay.
What you got there, Mike? Oh.
I got a good buy on these off of a site off of eBay that's U.S. composites, and this is like a clear finishing resin.
That's good stuff.
You mix 3-to-1 with the hardener, and it's got 20 to 25 minute pot life. And
there you go.
Good stuff. Yep. And they sell all the Cabasil and balloons and all that.
Yeah, yeah, that's good stuff.
High power rockets. That's what Jim was talking about.
Yes. I'm going for my level 3 out in Black Rock. And I'm going to be flying a 70 millimeter hybrid motor with a 21-second burn.
70
In fact,
okay.
I plan to, we've had 2 rockets hit the firmament. So I plan to stick the firmament, and we have video of all of it.
Good luck with that.
No, Terry, man, you ought to come back here to the salt flats back here and fly with those guys. They have a week out there that they fly rockets. Them guys fly.
Is that Triple E or? Hey, yes, sir.
Terry, when you get one stuck in the firmament, I want you to get a big telephoto lens and get us a picture of that rocket.
Well, you know, they hit and bounce off. We have rockets going up, hitting a rocket traveling at 1,400 miles an hour with rotation for stability.
Yeah.
All of a sudden go clunk and stop, and then gently start falling back at about 73 miles. But we got space stations, dude.
Yeah,
I've seen movies of it.
You'd have a
blast on TV.
You'd have a blast back here.
They teach you about that in aeronautic engineering school.
Well, actually, I learned about it at age 8 because I made telescopes from American Optical, and then the other company. Geez, I can't remember the name. Oh well, it'll come to me. But I used to grind the lenses. You know, you get a refractor telescope kit, like with an 8-inch or 6-inch mirror. You grind the mirror, then you mirror the back. You know, they used to use mercury, but then that got too dangerous. So then they sold you stuff that was 3 times more expensive to get the same thing done. But I grew up on the shores of Lake Michigan, and it was about 1956. Admiral Byrd had just gotten back from his South Pole adventure and was on a TV show talking about lands beyond the poles, warm water, fresh water that they landed in, even seeing mastodons. And then about a month later...
It's like he flew into another dimension or something.
Correct. And then shortly after that, he dies. He dies. And his daughter, because my mother had a beauty salon and she had all those magazines, those Globes and True Story and Detective and all that stuff, I used to go there and sweep up and, you know, walk there after school, sweep up, and then go home with her. Of course, I made money from her, the ladies I helped out. At any rate, they started this. That's when NASA started. And then the U.S. and Russia started shooting nukes up into the sky. Do you remember that? Anybody old enough to remember that?
Yeah.
So then Popular Science magazine comes out with this formula on the cover of the magazine to figure out the curvature of the Earth. And I'll tell you what it is. It's 8 inches per mile squared. But to keep the math simple, let's forget the squaring. Because the squaring is because when you're on a curve, the further you go out from the curve, the quicker it drops away. Agreed?
Okay.
Okay. So let's just calculate it on just 8 inches per mile. That will calculate a pyramid. Okay, it's not a curve, it calculates just an angle. we used to take my father's sailboat and we'd sail across to friends that lived on the other side of Lake Michigan from Kenosha to a place called Safe Harbor. It's on the entrance of the Black River. You can go to Google Earth and look at this. It's 98.5 miles away. I'm in my parents' living room looking through their picture window. Now, it was right after it was between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and it was about 8 degrees outside. There was no wind, and we had snow on the ground. But that also meant there was no atmospheric pollution. There was no humidity in the air. So I took my brand new telescope and I was just scanning because I just put it together. I had to purchase the eyepiece because that's one of the things you can't really grind those lenses yourself. You can buy the components, but you have to kind of purchase the eyepiece and put it together. So I had the eyepiece in, and I called my dad. I say, "Hey, Dad, here's the lighthouse." He says, "How can that be? There's no curvature." I was 8, so I got so excited about this that I thought I was going to turn everybody on to this, that somebody was being lied to, like us. And they held me back in 3rd grade, and I was a straight A student.
Wow. Wow.
And let me tell you, parochial school. And my mother, God bless her, I woke up twice. She was smacking me in the head with a Bible, trying to knock the demon out of me. I know it's funny, but
I'm so sorry.
Listen, I was 8, man.
Wow. I'm so sorry.
So listen, I studied aeronautical engineering at the University of Wisconsin. I got a master's in meteorology and all that stuff. I got my surveyor's certificate at 18, but not licensed until 21. But I still did surveying work for my father, who was a home builder. You can look up online books written by railroad engineers, and these aren't the whistleblowers, toot. These are the guys who designed the railroads.
Right.
One of the earliest railroads, most successful, is in Scotland. It's over 357 miles long. There isn't 1/2 inch of curvature allowed. No curvature, gentlemen. None. Now, Neil deGrasse Tyson says that it's because we're so close. We're like a little worm crawling on a huge basketball. That's why you don't see the curvature. We've had guys, Mark Sargent, and there's a channel on YouTube called Jeranism. But you can look up Mark Sargent. Now, Mark is a radio guy, and I became acquainted with Mark back during the early election start because the news was jaded as to facts on what was going on. And I could see what was going on because Donald Trump is a friend of mine, and he's a decent person. I know the man. Okay, and anyway, when I discovered this, I started questioning everything, guys. Now, there's another video out there, and maybe you should watch this one first. And I met this gentleman. He's Russian. And if you don't like Russian accents, there is several people who have dubbed over it. And there's a young woman who has voiced over it, telling you what he's saying. But it's called "There Are No Forests on Flat Earth." Now, everybody's familiar with the Devil's Peak out in Nevada, I think, or New Mexico. Devil's Tower. It was used in Close Encounter movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's in Wyoming.
Yeah, Wyoming.
Wyoming,
If you look up or you go online and look, they're going to tell you that this is volcanic rock that was squeezed up to make this thing. As a young kid, I goofed off with microscopes and magnifying glasses, gyroscopes, magnets, all that stuff fascinated me. That thing is an ancient tree. You can see it if you've ever looked at a cross section of a rye plant or a milkweed. you will see a ryegrass that is an ancient tree. And then out in Arizona, they have these mesas. I was out there with my parents. They took us on some nice vacations. We're at this petrified forest that I begged to see. And the man is standing there and he says, yeah, I said, those are the twigs. I said, those pings back there are the tree stumps. He goes, no, those are mesas. That was carved when this was an ancient ocean. They claim it's an ancient ocean, even up in Indiana, because there's sand. But guys, it's silicon sand. The ocean doesn't produce silicon sand. It can't, and it never will. It only produces calcium carbonate sand. That's sawdust from them chopping down the giant silicon trees that were here. This place was like Avatar. I swear to you. Prove me wrong.
Interesting. Wow.
Anyway, back to control line. I had this point I wanted to bring up, and it maybe it's a shift of gears. I had a Magnum, and I didn't get a lot of flights on it because the plane got wrecked, and it was wrecked in a hurricane. Okay. Anyway, so you pick and take what you're going to take, but I watch a lot of videos, and guys are complaining of 90-pound pulls on their handles.
From a Magnum?
This is crazy. Yeah, this is crazy. You can design that plane to fly in a circle and have just amount of line tension. And if you think you have to have 80 pounds of handle pressure to keep your lines from going taut, I see guys crashing with all this heavy line tension when they're yanking the handles and everything.
Yeah,
you don't need that excessive handle.
All you need on your handle's about 10 pounds max.
That's it. What you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
What's the test?
You want that kind
What's the test strength of .018 lines anyway? Anybody know?
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to look that up. I don't know what the strength is. In fact, I don't know.
I went ahead and installed those little arrow shafts in my wings so I can do a pull test on them real easy by sticking a screwdriver through and just holding it.
Yeah.
Out on the wingtip. So I've done that to the last few builds on my new
I'm glad I did it before I flew my Magnum after I built the new wing, because my crimps turned out to be the wrong size and they came right off.
Oh, they came off.
Yeah.
Good to find out that way.
Yeah.
I swedged them with the proper swedge tool too, but yeah, I didn't realize they were one size too big, and they did not have a good grip on that line like I thought they did. And yeah, pow, came right off.
Yep.
We pulled the other one off and took them back to the shop and did it properly, and they're on there now.
Yeah.
Yep.
That would have sucked. I'd spent all the winter building that wing for the wrecked wing, and have it crash on the first flight when the lines came loose.
Oh.
Oh man. Yeah, I'll tell you.
Not good. Well,
that's why I don't do any silk and dope, or I don't do any dope finishes on my control line. I just, I wouldn't be able to have fun. I just
yeah. Now I do dope and silk span on the fuselage and all, but on the things
I do that.
Cover them with monocoat.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Does change gears for just a second? Anybody watch or paying attention to the speed run the other day, the record?
No. Did they do it?
What happened?
They made their passes, and the first pass he had a 5:54, and the next pass
not quite
was
the 10%.
Yeah, the next pass was slower, and then when he was coming around in the third pass, the engine started coming apart, so he turned a real tight G turn to come back in for his fourth pass, and he was like 14 mile an hour slower. So to beat the old record, they had to beat it by 1%, and they didn't get the 1%. The old record was the old record was 528 miles an hour, but their average did go to 531. But that's not 5 or 1%. So they didn't give it to him as far as beating the old existing prop propeller or prop piston aircraft record, but they did give him another record though for the weight of the aircraft in that category. He went over 100 miles an hour faster than the old record.
Wow.
So they did get, in fact, I think it was like 130 miles an hour. So
Wow.
they did give him that, and they figured they figured that was a good accomplishment to do that. They was hoping for the all-out record, but they didn't get it. So they were pretty happy with what they did. The airplane didn't go as fast as what I thought it would. I thought they'd get a 560 out of it, but 554 isn't too far off.
Maybe the air was off.
Well, they fly in the later afternoon because I found out that actually when the air warms up, it's less dense. So that's what they wanted was less dense
less
air,
compressibility,
less
sticky
compressibility, and so they flew late in the afternoon. The conditions were good. It was I think it was only about 3 or 5 mile an hour winds. It was still smoky, but their visibility was good enough to where he did it. Yeah, they didn't show it live like I thought they was gonna, but I seen it was later on. Actually, it was the next day. I seen that they videoed it and they put it on well, it was on the Facebook that I follow. Anyway, I watched it there, and I'll tell you what, it's really impressive. It really is, but not quite enough to get to the world record. So, but that was the run.
Minnesota Mike says good night. Good night, Mike.
Good night, man.
Good night, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Night.
But anyway, tonight when I was flying out there with all this smoke, the sun, I didn't even wear my sunglasses because there was enough smoke that I didn't have to wear them. But the sun was just a beat red through all that smoke. I took a picture of it with my camera. Well, I was with my phone, I should say. But it didn't look like through the phone that it didn't do, it just isn't the same. It's not near
didn't do it justice.
Red. Yeah, it's not near as red and stuff as what it was when we was looking at it. It was really pretty. It was really neat.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, it was pretty neat.
Well, hopefully it won't affect you.
Well, I got allergies really bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I can tell already with my eyes itching. I'll be getting allergy shots tomorrow.
Speaking of allergies, do you guys see any chemtrailing? You guys know what chemtrailing is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any lately.
I haven't either.
Yeah. There was a bunch before the hurricane.
Oh, I suspect that we've been messing with weather too much.
Are you familiar with HARP?
I've heard of it, but I don't know anything about it.
It's up in Alaska. There was a TV show on it that Jesse the Body Ventura did a few years back.
Oh, brother.
So
yeah.
it's a place that it's a place bigger than Maine, and they have thousands of microwave generators pointed to the sky, and they have a atomic power plant there just to run it.
Wow.
And there's some video on YouTube. Just I don't know. I don't want to say so. I don't know, where people who are reporting in have 100-mile-an-hour winds come over the top of their homes from that direction, moving southeast.
Is that different from the prevailing direction?
Correct. Yeah. What it does when they turn this HARP on, they're able to channel Arctic air down from the North Pole.
Wow.
Slide it right down over top of California, or even out to sea, depending how the jet stream's working that day.
Huh.
And if you want to see something, you know what? I predict hurricanes and stuff, and in school I was doing this, and how I was doing it so accurately is I use a flat earth map to do weather. When you see the flat earth map and you see the way the sun and the moon rotate around and the way the jet streams go, it's so much easier because that's how it is.
Do you still do that, Terry?
Correct. Go to Jeranism or Mark Sargent. You'll find. Oh, listen, my son just poked his head around the corner. My grandfather, my dad's father, would tell me things, and he told me the story how he started painting houses when he was a young kid. And his boss, the first day he went to work, he told him, "I need you to bring a marble." So he brought a marble. When he got there, the guy put a marble in the paint can, put the lid on it, and told my grandpa the address. By the time he got there, what happened to the paint? It was all mixed up, right?
Yeah.
All right. So my grandpa used to say to me, he'd leave me these parting shots. He'd say, "Are you ready for the marble in the paint can?" I'd say, "Okay, Grandpa." And he'd give me something to think about or look up. So that's what I just did to you guys.
Right
I
on.
put a marble in your paint can now.
Very good.
Charles got it. Charles got that marble.
Very good. I like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I have
So
been
when
using
you guys
marbles.
listen, and I don't mean to insult anybody, God bless all you guys, but when you do wake up, we'll have some serious conversations because I've been at this, let's see, 61 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Listen, have you ever seen Breaking Bad?
Oh
No.
yeah,
Yeah.
I watched the whole thing on Netflix.
I haven't seen that.
A
I don't
friend
even
of
know what it's
mine, a friend of mine, who he says like he was like one of my close friends up north. Like when I discovered this stuff, a lot of my parents' friends didn't want me to hang around their kids. But I had one buddy who was forbidden to see me. But see, if you understood this guy, that was going to make sure that he came to see me. Now, we might have not become great friends, but because his mother said, "Don't you go to that Terry's house," he was there with bushes on. "Why isn't I'm supposed to see you?" I go, "I don't know. Maybe it's this."
Oh.
So I let him look at the lighthouse. Then I give him the formula and tell him to go home and think about it.
Very good.
Anyway,
Very good.
it's all crazy, man. It's all good.
It's all
But
good.
everybody, just do your own research. There's YouTube. This thing, there were years and years that went by through all the space nonsense. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I just can't believe it. And don't get me started on going to the moon. I mean, do you realize that NASA now claims to have lost all the data and all the video footage on that? It's all lost. Oh, we lost it.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that convenient or what?
Well, I don't know, guys. Anyway, the marble's in the paint can now. Anyway.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I'll tell you what. I was in Utah a few weeks ago at my daughter's place, and my grandson has a telescope. We set it up one night, and it's 600 power. But which is enough. We was looking at Jupiter, and we could see a couple of moons around that, and then we swing over and looked at Saturn. Is it Saturn the one that has the ring around it?
The bands, yeah.
The band. Well, anyway, we looked at that, and then we was looking at the moon, and I said, "Shit, as much power as this thing got," I says, "we ought to be able to see the flag on there."
Hey, listen, you can look at the moon sometimes in the afternoon when it's out, especially here in Florida, and you can see Jupiter through the moon. How is that possible?
Jeez, I don't know.
And one other thing, Charles, just for you, my friend.
All right.
My West Coast California friend. The sun, they claim, is 93 million miles away, correct?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so light would be traveling definitely parallel. Parallel. When you see a sunrise here in Florida or a sunset out where you live, aren't the rays angled like the Japanese war flag? The rays are angled. Well, we have plenty of video. We explain it to you. You'll see it. You're a visual guy. I get it.
Right.
You'll get it. Visual is good. My son is visual. I'm visual. I have dyslexia. I had it before they had a name for it.
That is interesting.
Yeah, and
So
if you use simple geometry, like what I used was one of the early Central Rocket Supply altitude calculator. All you have to know is your distance from where the rocket was launched, and you look up at the angle, and it gives you the height.
Right.
Sun's
Right.
3,000 miles. It's within the dome. So is the moon. And I think the moon is nothing but a projection on the dome. It's nothing solid. And listen, we have a rover on Mars. All they have to do is put a camera on the moon and show us a picture of the Earth, but they can't do this because it's impossible. It's impossible. Totally.
Yeah.
Well, you're throwing
YouTube.
me
You
for a
wanna get on or
loop.
stay off?
You're throwing me for a loop.
What do you need?
Well, we'll talk at you guys later. I need to get
Oh, yeah,
back.
I know. I saw it.
Yeah, this is the longest we've ever run. We'll see you later, Mike.
We'll see you, Mike.
See you, Mike. Take it easy.
Hey, look up some of that VA
Yeah, let's
stuff,
see.
man.
Okay.
I need a flying partner.
I'd love to do it.
Okay, my son says the storm's going to come up the center of the state, so that's his call on it. He's pretty good at it. So we'll see.
Okay, well, let's call it a night. This is the latest show we've ever done, I believe.
Oh, wow. Okay, guys, it was great.
Right on.
52.
All right,
It was
guys.
great. Thank you, Gary. Thank
Thanks,
you,
guys.
Rusty. Thank you,
All
Wally.
right,
You
everybody.
bet. Thanks,
everybody.
guys. Have a good week.
Good night, and all the YouTube folks, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. And as usual, tight lines, fair winds, and we will see you on Friday.
We'll see you guys.
All right, good night.
Good night, you guys.